That's the. I mean, yeah, because I don't eat breakfast ever, and then
Yeah.
like you eat it on the ship, and then I'm
Your
just like,
breakfast
what is
is
going on?
On cruises, your breakfasts are so good. Okay, we are live everywhere except Instagram, and now we're live on Instagram. Hey, everybody, happy Monday. We are back except for Pam, and Pam is out at sea on Utopia of the Seas.
Jealous.
Checking out that new
I
ship.
think I'd ever say that until like last week, but I'm jealous.
That new mega ship. So Pam is not here, but she will be back soon. So you have myself, Scotty G, and Rikki. And we're going to be answering your listener questions. So if you have questions, please put those in the chat because we need fresh questions. So if you want to talk about the Halloween party, you want to talk about the Christmas party, you want to talk about anything that is happening at the Disney parks, run Disney.
I have a question for you two really quick before we start.
Oh, okay.
Without looking it up, how much is a golf cart to rent at Fort Wilderness?
I know because I saw your post in the clubhouse.
You saw it. Okay.
A day. I almost died. I'm like,
how much?
That's like a rental car.
It's $70 a day, and that's actually like that's middle of the road.
Wait, is that for a golf cart at Fort Wilderness, or is that a Oh God!
Because it ranges from like 63 to like 80 something, and I'm in Thanksgiving, so it'd be like on the higher end a little bit.
Yeah.
It's $420 for me to rent the golf cart.
Ooh.
Dude, 70 bones.
But I mean, I said, yeah, I'll do it.
Yeah, I mean, of course, but
but they said 420. I was like, excuse me?
Yeah.
I'd be like, do I get to keep it at the end?
Is this mine?
I know. So
That's crazy.
It's my last resort I haven't stayed at. So.
Oh, really? That's the last one?
Fort Wilderness. I mean, because it's like camps.
Yeah,
yeah. As well, I love the new DVC cabins. They look awesome.
They do look very nice.
So we're like, all right, well, we got to do it.
Yeah, of course.
Then I can cross off every resort.
Wow, look at you! I'm impressed.
There might there might be a value missing. I'll have to go look at my spreadsheets. I keep track of all this stuff. Like, I need to do a re up because I want to know how many nights. Because I want to like. On a big celebration, I want to get like a 500th night at Disney celebration. I feel like I'm close to 500.
You should get something for the rewards program that doesn't exist.
Right? Don't get me dude. I'm fired up about that. Every hotel chain,
dude, you'd have platinum status.
Every single
your cruise line has it. Why can't the resorts have it?
Right?
For real.
Like even if it's like 15 nights and you get a $200 credit. Like, I don't care. It'd be anything would be better than what they got right now.
That's true.
Plus like a Stitch or something. I mean, come on.
It's because their system just can't handle that.
Yeah, you don't have to tell me.
And they don't need it.
They don't care. Okay, let's do a show rolling. So again, I don't see many questions. Pianist Barista, thank you for saying hello over on Instagram. Shout out. What's going on? I'm back. Yes, so we're gonna do listener questions first. So we need questions, and we had lots of you have cruising questions. We can answer cruising questions too. So because Scott lived on a ship for 14 days, ate lots of pizza and ice cream and burgers, and I ate lots of ice cream and
donuts,
pizza, and I ate lots of eggs Benedict, which you'll hear about in the next show.
I had a few of those myself.
Eggs Benedict. I actually and its cousin Eggs Florentine, which was next door.
Oh.
Got that by accident one day, and I was like, "Hey, Florentine's not bad."
My most common egg was I went with the omelet. They had a great dude. I became best friends with the omelet. She's gonna be featured on the vlog. I do like a video with her near the end because I was like, I'm sad to say goodbye to you.
That's funny.
Please spend every morning together, and the washy guy too.
Washy. All right, let's do this show. Rolling. Oh, wait, what number? 2522. So listener questions. We need questions. We have some in the inbox, but we'd like some fresh ones. So here we go. I've only said that 17 times. So come on through, please. Here we go, Rhonda Lee. I see you over on Instagram. Shout out. Here we go. Welcome to episode 2000. Wait, nope. Screwed that up already. As you can tell, I've been out of the office. Delete. What's that noise?
It sounds like someone's eating.
It is. It's the dog.
Let's say, because I was like, I heard it, and I'm like, what is that?
At first, I thought it was like a water faucet.
No, It's a dog.
I'm like,
I think someone's going to town on something.
I thought it was a squirrel. I was like, is it a squirrel like outside my window? I got him a look.
It's the dog.
Oh my gosh, I thought it was a squirrel.
No, you're fine. You're fine.
Deer ate all of our hostas while we were
gone.
Oh no! Hostas. We have these gigantic deer. I saw them yesterday morning. We went for a walk. I mean, they got big, like they're bucks. They have big horns. They came and ate all of our hostas, and they were beautiful before we left. Dude, they're gone. They just destroyed them.
Bye plants.
Punks.
That's why I don't even bother with the yard.
I know. I know. We have a big, big
like, where's the bush?
The Bennings from Ohio came over this weekend. I was like, don't look at the yard. Like I don't even put the effort in anymore. Like you only got like 2 or 3 good weeks, then you start traveling, and then it has no chance. Done. Yeah, no rain. Exactly.
That is the worst you get home for vacation. Our grass was like, oh, I was like, oh my God.
We have a giant bush in our yard, and Brian can't reach the top anymore. So he cut like all the side off, and then it's just got like what looks like hair growing out of the top because we can't reach the top of it.
It's got a fro.
It totally has a fro. Yeah.
Fro. Okay, so here we go. 222522. Okay, let's try this a second time without the squirrel.
Yep, no squirrel. We're good.
Welcome to episode 2522 of the Be Our Guest Podcast. Of course, I'm your host, Mike Rallman from BeOurGuestPodcast.com and one of the senior agents over at the Magic for Less Travel. Happy Monday. Oh, dude, I totally hose this up because it's not Monday.
It is not Monday.
I can't even do this.
It's Wednesday.
What am I doing? I'm an idiot. Oh my God. I'm not even doing this right. Oh my God. Okay, let's try it third time. I can't. I didn't even say it right. I should have said Happy Wednesday. I got all off my game. Here we go. Sorry. I'm trying to get out of here so I can see the draft party across the street. The kid got drafted by the Diamondbacks. I want to see everybody. The media is coming over, so I want to see across the street. Okay, here we go. You know me. I got to see that kind of stuff. Here we go. Happy Wednesday, everybody. Welcome to episode number 2522 of the Be Our Guest Podcast. I'm your host, Mike Rallman from BeOurGuestPodcast.com and one of the senior agents over at the Magic for Less Travel. We're going to pretend like this isn't take number 3 and I have not been out of the studios for the last week and a half. Glad you're here today. It's time to answer your listener questions, and we're going to have a great time today because the crew is back. We're so glad to have them. Scott back in the country for the first time, and it feels like a month. Rikki is back with us as well. So we have a great team assembled to answer your listener questions, and we record these shows around 5:30 Eastern on Monday. So if you want to ever join us live, we have lots of places you can tune in live: Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, or Twitch. So just kick off your week the right way that Monday after work. Come on over, join us. We have a good time recording live, 2 shows back to back. And we'd love to have you be a part of our recordings as we get on with the shows. And that's what we're going to do right now. So joining us from the mouseforless.com and a DisneyWorldAfterAll.com, we have Rikki. Rikki, what's going on? Happy Wednesday.
Happy Wednesday. And I'm back from Walt Disney World too. So, all 3 of us have been traveling. And I just want to put out the PSA because it is very hot in Florida. And I know that everybody knows it's very hot in Florida. It's summer, right? Duh. But I would like to put the PSA out there that you need to make sure that you are hydrating, getting everything that you need, because I was about this close, and my fingers are like really, really tightly together from passing out from the heat exhaustion while I was in line for Tiana's. So, I was definitely blacking out. My hearing was muffled. I was going down. So just a heads up. It happened in 3 minutes. So I went from feeling completely fine to almost completely, being on the ground in 3 minutes time. So make sure you have water, snacks, everything that you could possibly need. A fan is what saved me hugely. And a cast member was so great. His name was Gio. He helped me out as well. So I just want to say, you definitely need to make sure that you take huge caution. It was 10 o'clock in the morning. So I didn't even think it wasn't even supposed to be that hot out, but it is deceptive. It will hit you quick. And it is the first time I've ever almost passed out from heat, and it is incredibly scary if you've never been through it. So you just know, like, something's wrong. I just need to sit down is what I just kept telling people. And like, they're like, well, you can't sit here. You have to go there. And I was like, nope, not going to make it. So just know that the heat is no joke right now. So just heads up.
And it's hot everywhere around the country. So take that for everywhere you are. And Ralph, who's tuned in live over on YouTube, says, if you ever get exhaustion going to Tomorrowland Speedway, that is absolutely the wrong.
Yeah, I'm not going to be doing that. No.
The one time I almost passed out in the Magic Kingdom, it was the night before our very first podcast cruise. I was in line for the Tomorrowland Speedway, and it was a super humid, sticky night after eating too much over at Whispering Canyon.
Yep.
I downed one of those gallon bucket of sodas because they brought me the bucket soda, and I was trying to be a tough guy and drink the whole thing. Went over to the Magic Kingdom, tried to close out the night. Super sticky, super humid, super hot. Super stupid I was. Just kept, again, I was in line, just breathing in all the fumes, then got on the cars, got overheated. My moral of the story, my wife had to roll me out all the way back to the Wilderness Lodge to our car in a wheelchair. And then the next day I had to go on our first ever podcast cruise. And they ask you, have you been sick in the last 24 hours? Absolutely not, because we had 120 people sailing with us. It was the craziest story ever. So yes, be careful of the heat.
Yeah,
do not go around those cars because you're in the fumes.
They asked me, they're like, are you okay? And I was like, no. At that point, I was finally like, no. And they're like, do you need medical attention? And I said, I finally gave in and was like, yes. And they're like, well, we'll have to call you an ambulance. And I'm like, no, I don't need an ambulance. Let's just give me a minute. I just need a minute. Get
me out of this line.
No ambulances. So
all right. Scotty G's joining us. He is back from back-to-back Anthem of the Seas cruises over in Norway, where he checked in on Anna and Elsa, I'm sure, saw the fjords, but most importantly, destroyed all kinds of Sorrento's pizza. And if you know, you know. My brother from another mother, glad to have him back in almost in my time zone. He's only one away right now because it was a little hairy there when he was like 8 time zones away. I was worried. It was really tough to communicate. Scotty G, glad to have you back in the fold. What's going on, brother?
Happy to be back. Rikki, that's a scary moment for sure. I saw you make that announcement, so it's a good PSA for sure.
Yeah.
I'm always trying to bring some humor, so I'm going to say I almost passed out too because I went 2 hours without Sorrento's pizza.
Oh my God.
My body needs it.
Yes, I get
it. In all seriousness, though, yeah, you got to definitely be careful out there. Sometimes you can overhydrate too. So
that's true. Yes.
Be careful of that as well because that is a serious thing too. But yeah, listener questions, baby. I had to knock off some rust. It's been a minute since I've done this, so I'm excited. So Mike, let's fire away. Let's answer some questions.
Here's the thing. I mean, people are coming in hot with Adventures by Disney questions and international park questions. I mean, you're not giving us softballs right off the bat. So easy here. Tanja says on Facebook, one of our great friends down in Tennessee, one of our Run Disney Lizards, one of my great friends, love Tanja. She says, what would you do non-Disney port of call in Hong Kong for 17 hours? I could easily go to the park for the entire day and get back to the ship easily. Would you tour Hong Kong or go to Disneyland? I'm planning all of our excursions for this trip, and this was my non-Disney loving husband's idea. So this is what would you do? Would you tour Hong Kong or go to Disney? I mean, you're talking to Disney fans though, right? But I mean, I always say happy wife, happy life, but this is kind of the opposite here. It's husband's idea. You're in Hong Kong. I mean, this is like, I don't know if there's a right answer here, right? I mean, what would you do?
I'm touring the city because I don't know if you're going to get it depends on if you're going to go back again, right? I don't think you're going to get that full Disney experience. And a question I would have too is like, as someone that just did like a crazy long excursion, like not quite 17 hours, but like how long is it going to take you to get to that destination? Is Hong Kong Disney like further away from the ship, so that adds like another hour to your excursion time, like riding a bus or whatever? I would try to do the thing that is that is the closest to the port, so I can maximize my time in doing whatever that destination is.
Yeah, I would tend to say I would like to see the culture of the city more than Disneyland. And I hate to say that as a Disney fan, but the thing is, as much as I would like to see the international Disney version, the Disneyland park over there, like what are the opportunities that you're going to have in a lifetime to get to experience the authentic culture of a place like Hong Kong, right? I mean, I don't know what your situation is, but I know if I was there, I'm probably never, ever going back. And with Disneyland, that park, I'm going to have a lot of similar experiences, which I would really appreciate, right? I'd like to see the different versions of this and that and the castle and stuff like that. And that would be truly authentic, or truly appreciated by me. But to see the authenticity of what the culture has, I mean, with just only like that 17 hours, I just want to see what the city has to see, like I'd want to see the authenticity, the real Hong Kong, I think. But I mean, I'd love to see both. But I know you don't get that opportunity. Rikki, what would you do?
I mean, you are talking to a Disney fan who, I mean, I would choose Hong Kong Disneyland, but that's just me. I as a Disney fan, I would want to get that knocked off the bucket list. I mean, that's on my bucket list for sure. And so that's what I would want to do. But if your significant other is not necessarily a Disney fan, that makes it a little more difficult. Just because, like you are over in Hong Kong and it is kind of I assume kind of a once in a lifetime opportunity. So, I would have that conversation with my significant other and be like, hey, so, we're going and, to do this part of our vacation and it's not Disney related, but do you mind if we swing over to, Hong Kong Disneyland? I know. I mean, it's hard because Brian is he's so supportive of all of this. So like he would be the one who's like, let's go to Hong Kong Disneyland. So it's a little bit more difficult for me to make the answer. Because I would choose Hong Kong Disneyland every time, I think. I would be like, ooh, I can see parts of Hong Kong on the way there, and then I could get to Disneyland. So that's where I sit. So it's probably not the best answer because it's the Disney answer, but that's what I would do.
I think I've heard that airport in Hong Kong is like one of the coolest things ever to see. Now, I don't think they're going into the airport, but I've heard that's like amazing. I think that's in Hong Kong, but I'm an airport guy. Okay, Thomas Perk, our good friend, who's co-hosted here on the podcast, Support a Give Kids World. We love Thomas. Says, question, best place to read Dick Nunes' book, Walt's Apprentice, while on board the Wish. We can all give an opinion because we've been on the ships. So we have places on the Disney Cruise Line ships that are great. Here's a great place. I'm going to give you one that's on all the ships. Early morning, Cove Cafe.
Oh, yeah.
That was my answer, Mike.
That's a good call.
I'm just telling you, it's a great place to read. Coffee, a little Danish, or whatever.
Like
your free little treats out of the case. That's where I'd read. But where else? I mean, give them another option besides that. Somebody.
So my answer, which you just took, so I had to quick think of another one. So on the Wish, you have this great restaurant called 1923 that is kind of like themed to Disney and Walt. Go there over lunchtime. It's quieter at lunch. A lot of people will explore and do like the cabanas and whatnot and do all those other things. My daughter always takes a book to lunch.
Oh, really?
On a sea day.
I love it.
Like it's usually when we go to Apollo brunch. So that's kind of like her thing. So she'll go to table servers and she'll take her book and just read. And it's like so relaxing for her. So that's kind of where I got this idea from Emily, actually. So that's what I would do. And 1923 is a spot that you go to for lunch. So that's what I would recommend.
Emily is amazing. I love her so much. That's awesome. That's totally something I would do.
Our kids are like outpacing us because like Mallory took way better pictures on the cruise than I did. And it's like, when did this happen? Like the kids have now exceeded us, which is cool. But I'm like, dang, whatever. Stop.
I think for me, I think that, I mean, if you don't want to go for the rainforest room and the whole area outside, which is kind of where, like, that's where I did all my reading, was by the rainforest room, because they had like the most amazing loungers out there. And they had, you can do it in the hot tub a little bit, as long as you don't, mind maybe getting your book a little wet, or whatever. There were these great big chairs that were on the upper decks, and that's where I would do it. Like it was like a 2, 3, 4 person chair, depending on how many people are in your family and how many people you wanted to cram into a chair. And they were just so peaceful, and I loved them so much. So I think if you're not going to do the rainforest room, I would suggest that.
Sounds good. You know, here's one other thing we discovered too, that some people that were smart, we never got in there, but like a great use of the buffet. So Cabanas is open for breakfast and lunch, but it's not open for dinner, right? Because you have rotational dining on the ships, on the Disney Cruise Line ships.
I think it's open. Yeah,
for dinner.
I think you can
not
get
open for dinner.
Oh,
it
wow.
is not.
Okay.
It is not.
all the other ships are. I know that.
It is not. It is not.
I've definitely heard that the other ships are open for dinner. For yeah, I've definitely heard that. So it's like they bring food to you, but
Room service is open for dinner, but Cabanas, the buffet is not open for dinner on the Disney Cruise Line ships.
Okay.
But here's what I say, my tip is, since it is not open for dinner, it's open for breakfast and lunch, is that it is a quiet place to go. Like after lunch ends and the like late afternoon and in the evenings, because the tables are open and people go up there and play cards and play like board games and just hang out and read a book, because like it's a huge open area and there's great seating that looks out over the waters. And we saw people doing this, like playing Uno as a family. And like, I mean, because it's air conditioned, it's cool, it's chill. I mean, like, and the thing is, like in the mornings for like breakfast, it's chaos in there, right? Everybody's trying to get their eggs and their bacon and their sausage. It's wild. I mean, it's fine, but it's just like, it's such a cool, chill area. If you go, even like at 10 o'clock at night, like it's a great place to go. There's not a person in Cabanas or you know, whatever they have on the other ships. Like was it Marceline Market on the Wish? But you can go in there when they're not serving, and it's a great place to just chill with a book.
So quiet in there.
Oh my God. Stairs aren't that bad, and there's a great view. I mean, it's like going to Meridian, and you know, I mean, Meridian's a lot nicer. It's a bar, but you know, it's a deck down. You can just, nobody's in there. The people were doing that on our cruise a lot, like families. So they were like playing Uno and stuff. So that was kind of fun. Let's see here. Let's see. Simon from over in the UK has a question. Hey, BOGP crew, what's your pick? Go for an early pre-Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween party meal, or snack the party treats. Cheers, Simon over in Great Britain. So have a big meal before the party or snack the party.
I mean,
snack, right?
The party is just candy. So I'm gonna go with, I mean, there's a few other things obviously that they bring out, because Disney always has like specialty treats and things like that. But I feel like usually they still steer a little more towards the sweet than the savory. So I'm going to say grab yourself some food first before Mickey's Not So Scary.
I thought you were going to snack. You're going to say get a meal before?
I'm going to say grab food, because usually we usually grab food before. Because I mean, I wouldn't want to like fill up on, just sugar the whole night. Like, I mean, I would fill up on it after I ate a meal. But I would make sure that I had a meal in me at first. So I'm going to say eat first.
Well, Scott's nodding. What do you say, Scotty G?
I think I've gone to the Halloween party 7 or 8 times, and I have always had a 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock dinner before I enter the park, and I do not eat at the party. I always eat beforehand.
Do you snack at the party at all?
You think it's something like Kona or like something in that area?
I was doing Grand Floridian. I'm not Grand Floridian. I was doing Monorail Resort. Normally Grand Floridian Cafe.
Grand Floridian, yeah, I was going to say the same thing. We've done Grand Floridian Cafe a lot.
But I will say, to Ricky's point, I have like snacked a little bit. I remember one year, like our group, they had this like sweet corn like dessert. I mean, it looked like a corn on the cob, but it was like a cake or something. Like it like really messed with your mind as you were like cutting it. But it was good. So some of those specialty treats are good, but like the problem is like the restaurants close early. Not even all the counter service restaurants are open. So I'm always the safe bet where I'm going to eat at like, I know it opens till 4 to guess, and the party starts at like 7, but we go eat dinner like around 5 o'clock and then take a boat over or whatnot. And then don't worry about eating dinner. And maybe we'll snack like a couple times, but not much.
That's totally sensible. And that's actually what Tanja's saying, and like other people in the chat. So that is a sensible answer. But for some reason, I'm thinking what I might do is go for the snack. Like I would go with like Casey's Corner corn dog nuggets. Like, because those are, you can mobile order those during the party. Those are food. Those are like a meal. And like roll with that. And then when you get a little, because you gotta have something, you gotta have meat, you gotta have protein, right? But then you could snack sweet stuff and then maybe roll up to, because you're right. Late in the party, there's nothing open.
It's Casey's is the only thing that's open at the party. I feel
you're
like
right. You got to be careful. Late in the party, you could be in trouble because
maybe Cosmic Rays. I don't know.
I think Cosmic Rays is open as well. Yeah,
that could be your only option. So then you might have to get like a chicken sandwich.
Because they take a lot of those places and turn them into trick or treat stands.
They do.
Is the problem.
So. Parties. Yeah. So you got to watch it. But you do. I mean, but I would like. That's what I'd probably do. Like corn dog nuggets.
Yeah.
Maybe a chili. I mean, I'd be eating terrible. Like you wouldn't want to be around me. But
Simon, I like the 4 p.m. meal because the thing is, you don't want to spend your time in the party like
exactly
eating. You want to be exploring, doing all the other stuff. Unless there's like a specialty item that draws to you, but then do a couple of those, but not like your main meal for sure. We'll do all three, he says.
Eat it all. All right, we have a question here. It says, let's see, this is from Andrew out in Utah in the inbox. Hey, Mike, hope you're having an awesome trip. It's been fun seeing your pictures on the Discord. Looks like you're having a blast. Well-deserved. Here's my question. I noticed on a recent show that you referenced Len Testa. I got a couple of questions, so this is a two-part question. Although BOGP is by far my favorite Disney Parks podcast by a mile, I also listen to some others, including the Disney Dish with Len Testa and Jim Hill. Do you listen to other Disney Parks podcasts? And if so, which ones do you listen to? If you don't mind giving a plug for your competition. I'll be honest, I don't listen to any other Disney podcasts at this point. I listen to tech podcasts and retro gaming podcasts. That's it.
Nerd. I'm just joking.
I know. I listen to one called The Retroist. I listen to a couple of running podcasts, and I listen to This Week in Tech. Their podcasts. One's called Mac Break Weekly. One's called This Week in Tech. Comes out on Sundays, and some sports podcasts. And that's about it. And I listen to live radio. That's about it. I used to listen to a ton of Disney podcasts, but I just I've kind of gone to just the old ones. Kind of like I used to be. WDW Today was my jam, like back in the day. And it's gone. All right. And it's just, I listen to some here and there, but I just don't listen to a bunch regularly. It's kind of my tastes have kind of changed. So that's kind of where I am. Rikki, what about you? I'll ask you guys.
I'm kind of the same, actually. I really stopped listening to podcasts a lot. I mostly listen to the radio at home now. But I will say, actually on the trip down to Florida, that hey, let's put on a podcast. So the podcast he asked for was Jim Hill and Len, so the Disney Dish. But of course, I'll always put out the plug out there for Matt and the 3028 because they do a good job as well. So, but yeah, I really kind of stopped listening to podcasts a lot, just because I just really started listening to the radio more and more and more, and it just started infiltrating my system. So I go on phases. I'll go on a radio phase, and then I'll go on a podcast phase, and then I'll go on a radio phase. And so right now I'm on my radio one right now.
No, let me say I listen to 5 hours of podcasts a day. I am all in on podcasts, but it's like right now I've just been like into tech and retro. It's weird because the stuff I listen to, I like stuff that is a dude in his basement, like kind of stuff. Besides the This Week in Tech network, which is very like polished, but I mean, the weird thing is, here's the weird thing about that network real quick. They have gone from like $1 million studio because they're losing a lot of their sponsors to like people that are produced on Spotify and stuff. And like, they have had this huge studio, which they've kind of gone way over their budget. They're moving out of their studio, and the guy's going to start doing the show from his house, and they're going to use StreamYard, which is what we use. Yeah. So he's taking this huge step backwards to do exactly what we're doing. And they're excited because in the coming weeks, they're going to be able to broadcast not just on YouTube, but on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram, and on Twitch.
Yeah.
That's what we do. Yeah. So we're gonna be like on equal par with them, but they've been doing this like for years and years because he was a cable TV guy when he started. So he's like my dad's age, and I used to watch him on cable TV like back when I was in college. That's how long this guy's been going. Leo Laporte. He's kind of like my podcasting guru guy. So that's where I am. I like tech and I like retro stuff, like hearing about old like 80s TV shows and music and stuff like that. I mean, it's just my jam because I think the reason I don't listen to so much Disney stuff anymore is that I do it for a living. Right. It's like when I wasn't a travel agent, I listened to like 50 Disney podcasts because it was something that I wasn't doing 24/7. But when you do it all day, and like when you produce 5 shows a week, you know, you can only have so much Disney like to listen to, you know, because I'm producing it, I'm working with Disney on the phones when I'm not doing the shows. And so I think that's where I am. Scott, what about you? What do you think?
Yeah, so I feel like Disney podcasts have just like gone downhill a little bit. Like some of my old favorites are just like I don't know, they just don't have like that same vibe that they used to have. And there's so many of them too, is the thing. So you hear a lot of the same content over and over again. Outside of the BR Guys podcast, because we're unique and we're awesome.
As hard as we can.
Totally
But I will say there are a couple that I still like, and I'm bad about listening to podcasts. I have so many. I had to delete a bunch because I was running out of storage on my phone.
Yeah.
So I was like, all right, I got to delete these and I'll get them back to them whenever. But our friend Mike at Radio Hombre, I really love what they do.
Yeah.
Like, I'm a big Animal Kingdom guy, so shout out to Safari Mike. Like, I love their
They
podcast.
do a good job.
They've been around for a long time. Love him on all the social media too, so that's a good one. And not as very popular. I know he doesn't have a lot of followers, but Mike, you know our friend Scotty Boy. He does like it's called The Stuff We Love.
Yes.
So he loves Disney, so we'll talk about that. But then he talks about a whole lot of other things too, like Taylor Swift. I've been on a bunch of times to talk about the Beatles because that's something I'm very passionate about. So he talks about other things that he loves, but he will talk about the theme parks and Hollywood Horror Nights and things like that. So those are the two I'll add.
Cool. And a second question. Do you often run into other Disney parks podcasters as you visit the parks or press events in general? How is the interaction typically? I'm guessing you're closer to some than others, but I would think it would overall be a generally friendly and supportive group of people. Thanks, Mike. Enjoy the rest of your trip and safe travels home. Andrew in Utah. Yeah, I mean, I haven't been to a whole lot of press events lately, but everybody's super kind, super friendly. It's more just like in passing because everybody's kind of doing their thing. And again, you know, you just say, hey, and you'll see you at the next one, and everybody's kind of covering their thing and getting in and out. So it's a friendly thing. So appreciate the question. And let's get to, a question about Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party from Austin out in Cleveland. He says, hey, Mike, hope you enjoyed your Disney cruise. Not sure if you'd remember, but I actually called in 2 years ago during a live show to talk about my bros trip to Walt Disney World with my work friends. It was awesome to talk to you and Scotty G. Anyways, me and my work friends decided to run back another trip to Walt Disney World next month. It was their idea too. We wanted to try something new, so we purchased tickets to Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party at the Magic Kingdom for Friday, August 23rd. I've never attended an after hours / special event like this before, and I have no idea how to strategize for the night, what rides to capitalize on, how to navigate Tron, etc. I'm considered the Disney guide for the group, so I'd love some tips for the BOGP crew that will help make this an awesome night for everyone. Thanks again, Austin in Cleveland. All right, Rikki, lay down to 411 from Austin because he is the Disney guide for the group, and he's got to make it happen for the crew.
I see that. Well, the good thing is on the Mouse for Less, we actually have a guide for Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party, and it kind of helps break down which parts of the party you should do when. So it kind of tells you like, okay, this tends to be the more crowded time to do this X, Y, and Z. So you want to swap it out and do this then and this then. And, you know, it really is, we really have it broken down very successfully based off of many trips to Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party by myself. So, you know, I've definitely broken this down myself and have a good plan in place. I will say there are two things that throw this year off a little bit, just because we don't know how it's going to go. And those two things are Tiana's as well as Tron. Both of these attractions are now not going to have Lightning Lane for the party. They're not going to have virtual queue for the party, but they are supposedly supposed to have a standby line. So with that being said, not quite sure how those two things are going to impact waits for other, the wait times for Tron. We have no idea how those are going to be because it's really been on Lightning Lane / virtual queue the whole entire time. Tiana's, you know, we have a little bit of an idea because, you know, it was Splash Mountain before. So, you know, it did have pretty good waits. I'd say about 30 minutes or so, 45 minutes usually for the nights of the parties. So I expect that that'll probably have about the same kind of wait for Tiana's. But we have no idea about how Tron's going to go. One thing I did notice about Tron, I actually was able to get a virtual queue. I got virtual queues for both Tiana's and Tron. What is this? That was so bizarre to me because I'm like, how did this happen? Because I usually get just poor luck with the virtual queue. But I got Tron, and one thing I did notice this time, I've only done Tron twice, but they were not doing the pre-show for Tron, so they kind of just let people keep walking. And Tron is a slow loader for me a little bit, so it did help a lot though that they skipped the pre-show. And I suspect that they're probably going to keep skipping the pre-show as we move forward. So yeah, hopefully that will help the line move a little bit better for Tron. Again, once we got past the pre-show and everything, though, I did seem to take a little bit of time. So just kind of a heads up with that. But actually, I think it was like the locker area. Once you got past that, it was a little bit better. But that's the biggest question mark for me, is how those two attractions are going to impact wait times at the park, as well as your ability to, if you did want to wait for those two attractions, do other things at the party.
So let me ask you this, Scott. So I'm a fan that during the hard ticket event, we kind of talked about this on Sunday night too, which you'll hear tomorrow, because I think we had a question about this kind of related on the call-in.
It was Simon. Yeah, Simon was talking about
Simon. Yeah, good at the very end before he had to go when the baby woke up. That was so awesome. When you listen tomorrow, it's awesome. Also, and talk about a cold ending. Scott.
Well, the best part we didn't address it here, so I'm going to say,
yeah.
The best part we didn't address the comment, and then he's like, "Oh, Sid found out what the England score was, so he woke up crying." That was part of it.
No, it's terrible. Anyway, but here's the thing, like. Scott, do you like the idea that these virtual queue attractions turn into standby queues during a hard ticket? I kind of like that, because I just think it's old school. Like, you just want to ride. It's no thinking. Like, I want to ride Tiana's, get in line. You want to ride Tron, get in line.
As someone that can't ever get virtual queues, I'm a big fan of it, because it's just, if you want to do it, then you can just do it.
Exactly.
What I was going to say for Austin, though, like, I know this is like the bros trip, right? So he's running it back. I think that was the word.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah.
So I know bros. So I'm figuring like these, like, I don't know, these 20-something guys. Like, I don't know their ages or not, but they're probably going to think like, oh, parades. Like, I don't want to watch a parade, because I want to hang out with the guys who want to do all the rides and all that. But I will tell you, you have to make time for that parade. If you guys are going to the Not So Scary Halloween party, you might not be on your radar right now, but you have to do the parade. And I recommend the second one. Now, sometimes weather might impact one of the parades or not, so you would take a chance if you skip the first one and then it's rainy later in the night and they don't do the second one. But do the second one. There'll be less people trying to watch, and then you can do all the attractions during the first parade and things like that. But you got to do the parade with the bros.
Agreed.
And I would say definitely, I mean, he probably knows this, but be there at 4:00, get your money's worth, get in there early. Like we talked about, maybe grab the dinner before at a monorail resort, get in and get going. And also, Carolyn, our great listener, is out on the West Coast who, takes care of our Disneyland suggestions many times, but she has great, prioritize. Is it going to be important to do the Halloween, grab the candy? Maybe do that late, because they tend to just scoop the candy in late in the party. Like, and you don't want to carry the candy around the whole night too. A lot of people don't think about this. If you try to we're going to trick or treat and get our candy, at 7:00, then you're hauling that candy around for 5 hours and it's melting. You know what I'm saying? Grab the candy at 10:30, 11 o'clock. They're going to be scooping it in and just take it home with you. That's just practical advice. I mean, Scott, have you thought about that?
Let me ask you just one more thing for Austin. A Halloween party, costumes. So I have your suggestion right here. Austin, you're a Gaston, and the rest of your bros are the rest of the Gaston's crew. Since you're the guy that's setting up all the plans, you got to be the ringleader. So you are Gaston. You're going to have LeFou and the rest of the villagers from Beauty and the Beast be the rest of your crew right there. You guys are going to win the party. I'm just saying.
Dude, that'd be awesome. I do love that. That'd be so cool. But don't wear something that's going to be hot. Dude, you're going in August. That could be lethal.
Right.
That's okay.
Very hot. Yes.
I know you heard Rikki's story at the beginning, but that's okay, man. You can make that sacrifice to be full-on Gaston. I'm just saying, Austin, you can do it.
Dude, I'm just saying, do it, but with caution. Don't, dude, if you end up a cautionary tale, don't come back and yell at us. It's cool, but I mean, at your own risk. All right, cool. Actually, we have feedback from TJ Frey, one of our lizards.
Oh, I like TJ.
Dude, he's got a great idea for one of our questions from a couple weeks ago. And timely. We're getting this one in before the Olympics actually start, which is great. He says, "Hey, Mike, back from our trip. We had a great time. Thanks again for booking it for us. Appreciate that. I'm catching up on the episodes I missed. On the July 3rd listener question show, Brad had a question about watching the Olympics opening ceremonies. Remember that? One of our concerns that y'all noted was hearing the audio. He says, I have a potential solution for him. There's an app called, and I believe it's Tunity. So it's TUNITY, which will allow you to scan a TV set and then stream the audio through your phone. Huh. I used it when I was traveling for work and it worked really well. Please pass this tip along to Brad. And I've heard this. It's great for airports. Huh. Like if airports have on, a lot of airports will tend, like lounges will have on, the TVs, but no audio. And I've heard on tech podcasts, again, getting back to the question a minute ago, that if you have this app, you just, I don't know how it exactly works, but I've heard about it. I've never used it. But apparently you like sync it up to whatever TV and then you just, boom, you can just plug your headphones in and hear the audio for whatever TV show. So there you go. You can get the audio. So there you go. Tune it.
I never heard of that. I love that.
Me neither. That's awesome.
Yeah. Download it today. I don't know if it costs anything, but hey, TJ, you rock. Thanks for helping a bro out. There you go. Brad, go Yankees. And there's your solution. All right. We have a question from the Run, Eat, Drink podcast. Our friends over there. Hope you guys are doing well. And they say, hey, 3 of my favorite podcasters, you guys are too. They're living the life down in Florida. Mm-hmm. So they're living it well. Hope you're well. Where's my optimal resort stay for the wine and dine? This is Amy and Dana, by the way, down in Florida. Good to see you guys. So if you had one resort for wine and dine, why would it be Old Key West?
Stealing my answer.
Dude, that's why we're bros, man. I'm telling you, I was just there. That one bedroom was so sweet. I wish we could have stayed there for a week. I'm going to go on the cruise, but that one bedroom was so sweet at Old Key West. I could have stayed there for a month. But you're right there. I would stay at Old Key West if I could swing it.
4 years ago, my answer would have been different. It would have been a monorail resort because that's where the race started at the TTC. So you could actually just if you stayed at the Polynesian, you could just walk to the corrals, which is really, really nice. But now they started at Epcot for all the races. So I got to go with my traditional one. And I hate saying this answer, but I'm not registered for any Run Disney races anytime soon, so I'm okay saying it. You got to stay somewhere on the Sasagula. That is, I do not stay anywhere else for a Run Disney race because when you are done with your race, you hop on your bus, and I swear your bus is basically parked in Old Key West. It is the shortest bus ride back because you're on this back road. That's kind of where they house the buses, and you get in, and then you take 2 turns, and they're really quick turns, on overpass lane, backstage lane. Boom, you're right there. So I always stay at Old Key West for any Run Disney event or the Port Orleans resorts if I don't have enough points.
And that's what Rhonda Lee's saying up in Nova Scotia. She says French Quarter, small resort. We talked about this on Sunday night. They take care of the runners. For some reason, they celebrate the holidays. They celebrate the Run Disney events. They have a great special events coordinator team there.
Yeah, but I just love the short bus ride back. I don't want to be done. I want to be done with the race. I want to get back and shower, and you don't run into any traffic either. All the traffic is cleared for you. If you're trying to go to anywhere else on property, you're going to have a heck of a long bus ride, but never to Old Key West. I promise you.
And after the race, they drop you off and you get the opportunity to eat beignets at your resort. That might be at Old Key West right there. Rikki, I think I might have just sold the beignets. When they drop you off, beignets are within steps.
Well, I do that. I always take my I do beignets after every race because I do a medal picks with them every time.
I've done that too.
You guys are selling me on, Port Orleans. I'm here for it. Let's go with beignets.
Almost there.
Yeah, exactly. Let's go with the beignets. I'm here for it.
Yeah,
sold.
I think we're there. Shout out to Lisa in the chat. Hey. All right, we have one last question here from Julie. Hey, Mike and the gang at the BOGP crew. I'll be on the 10-night Southern Caribbean cruise on the Fantasy at the end of July. Oh my gosh, that would be so great. 10 nights. What is a hidden gem or something not to be missed on the ship? It has been several years since my family has sailed on the Fantasy, and I thought you might have some good info to pass along right after your recent trip. Thanks so much for the show. Julie's out in Virginia. All right, so we've all sailed on the Disney Cruise Line ships, and they're all similar. 10 nights on this, man. 7 nights I've kept saying before the cruise. Oh, I love it. It's going to be a nice long cruise. God, it went in a blank. Oh, too short. 10 nights would be sweet. And Southern Caribbean, I'm all about, because I've done Western and Eastern. Gotta do Southern now. Rikki, what's something on a Disney Cruise Line ship that's kind of a hidden gem they might have to do because they have 10 nights on the Fantasy?
Oh, man, I think you gotta do deck 4. I think you gotta we were talking about getting a good book and reading. That's another good place. I mean, it's not on the Wish necessarily, but it's on the Fantasy.
There's deck 4 on the It's not She's on the Fantasy and deck 4.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Trust me, it's there.
I know it's on deck 4. Deck 4 is on the Fantasy. So I'm gonna say go grab a book or a drink, or in my case it would be a coffee, because I'm nuts and drink 100-degree day I'll drink a hot coffee. So I would grab that and just relax and hang out there, and that would be the best thing ever. So I'm gonna say deck 4. That's my secret.
Okay. Scotty G, so cruising in general, you guys just did 14 nights on a ship. I mean, in cruising, a lot of the stuff is kind of the Venn diagrams similar. Royal Caribbean, Disney Cruise Line. You've been on the Disney Cruise Line ship, so give her some ideas. What do you think?
Well, I've been on the Disney Cruise Line for sure. But this is kind of like a general answer for any cruise. That it doesn't matter what ship you're on, you have to do this. And so I lean more towards Mike in this, where I'm talking about sleeping schedules right now. So Mike wakes up so early because he wants to beat all the runners, to the treadmills, where Rikki will sleep in for a while.
Yes.
I know. So depending on where you are, with your sleep schedule, I do recommend, at least because you're on there for 10 nights, take a morning to wake up super early and just beat the crowd up on the top of the ship and just watch a sunrise. That is one of my favorite things to do. You're definitely going to catch some sunsets on this ship, because everyone's usually awake by then, but not everyone's always awake for those early, depending on because you're going to be there in the summer. So those sunrises are going to be early in the day. So take the time to just set an alarm, wake up early, and make sure you're there for a sunrise. And that is just one of the most relaxing things. And then take a nap later in the day.
Absolutely. I mean, that you can nap 100 places on that ship. Satellite up in the Satellite Falls area, and deck 13 forward. You can sleep on deck 4. I mean, you can sleep wherever you want. Here's one little sleeper thing that I enjoyed a lot on the Fantasy specifically. We had lunch one day in Gills. So instead of going to the Cabanas or going to the sit down restaurant, we made a lunch because they serve food in Gills. I don't know if you know that. It's the Irish pub down in Europa, the adult area, but it's open for everybody until the night. And they have a menu of they serve this pretzel with beer dip and cheese and salt. And they have wings of 5 different flavors of wings. They have queso, chips, queso, and guacamole. They have all kinds of apps and beers and stuff. So we just ordered one of everything one day and just did it up in Gills for lunch. It was your corner bar, and we just had all the bar food, and it was the bomb. And it costs a little extra. You got to pay extra. It was $5 for the pretzel, $6 for the, wings. But it's still super cheap. And it was great. It was bar food. It was like going to B-dubs or something, but better. And there was a trivia going on while we were in there. So we played trivia. There was sports on the TVs. I'd die and go to heaven.
So I thought that was a Disney Cruise Line thing, for the pubs to have where you can buy extra stuff, the bar food kind of stuff. The same thing was on the Royal ship I was on, the pub, you could buy the burger and the pretzel and all that. I'm man, maybe this is a cruise line industry thing. You got to have a pub and you got to have some extras.
Maybe, yeah.
But I love that idea. It's so nice because it gives you a break from all the other food, especially 10 nights, right? You don't want to have Cabanas for lunch all the time, right? I love that idea, Mike. That's a good
and it's weird because I don't know what it was. Maybe I had a mindset change this time. I was 100% dead set against spending any extra money for food until this cruise. And then I was like, dude, I'm paying all this money for this cruise.
You've already prepaid so much money. What's a little extra, right?
Exactly. It's a 7-night cruise for my family. I've paid $10,000 at this point. Am I going to balk at $30 for a pretzel, some wings, and my wife to have a beer? You know what I'm saying? This is my food. It's chips and guac and salsa and cheese. And this is, this is a perfect afternoon for us to have a fun lunch, watch sports, play trivia. What am I know I could go up to Cabanas and get free food. Get the food that's included.
And then you could take it back down there even probably.
Good. Why, you're in there, it's you could never have a drink too, the drinks aren't included, but it's the overall cruise experience. I wanted to try it. And we never regret it. We said, this was when we were done, we're Oh my gosh, it was like the best lunch ever. I mean, it was just all apps, but we're like, oh, it was so fun. Like the pretzel was great with his beer kind of like mustard kind of dip. Oh, so good. I could kill for one right now. I'd kill to be an OG.
I can't wait to hear more stories about this in the next episode.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's do that. So we're going to get out of here for listener questions, but you have a question, email it to us, Mike@BRGuestPodcast.com. We'll get that on the show next week. But better yet, join us around 5:30 Eastern, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, and Twitch, and be a part of the show. Drop your question in, and you'll be right there with us on the podcast. Don't forget, the show is always brought to you by the Magic for Less Travel. We'd love to help you plan your next Walt Disney World, Disneyland, Disney Cruise Line, or Adventures by Disney vacation. To swing by the website today over at themagicforless.com. Please also use our Amazon affiliate link when you shop online. That really does help us out. That one extra click, bam, you're right back to Amazon. It supports the show. BeOurGuestPodcast.com/Amazon. And thank you so very much to our Patreon supporters. You guys make the shows possible, so thank you so very much for that. When you do that, just $5 a month, you get a bonus show every week. It's called Mike in the Midwest. So come on over this week, patreon.com/BeOurGuestPodcast. Give Scotty G a follow on the socials because he is getting must-see adventures rolling for you. He's going to take you out to sea. He's going to take you to Norway. He's going to show you fjords. He's going to show you he's going to have a counter for the Sorrento's pizza slices that he destroyed on the ship. And we're going to have to do an over-under before he like publishes or something. We're going to have to have
I'll put a poll on the Discord.
Yeah, there you go. That's exactly. I didn't think of the word. We're going to have to do that. Only he knows. I have ideas, but I don't even know. So we'll do that. But check out Must See Adventures on YouTube. So you're ready for that. Subscribe to that and check them out. Epscott, EPSCOT on all the socials. Rikki's got a DisneyWorldAfterAll.com. So make sure you check that out. And she's Rikki Nibs on all the socials. So make sure you're following her for all her updates. And I'm at Be Our Guest Mike on all the socials. So give me a follow. And most importantly, come over to the clubhouse. We have a great time. Over 1,000 of our listeners are there. It's like our cheers. Everybody knows your name. We hang out 24/7. People drop in, drop out, but people are there live all the time to chat with in real time and just help you. It's really what it is too. It's like a 24/7 listener question show. People have a question, they post it there, and honestly, there's like an answer usually within like 10 minutes. So you don't have to wait a week. It's just bam. Somebody's got a better answer that we can give you most of the time too. So come on over. It's beourguestpodcast.com/clubhouse. We'll see you today. All right. We are going to be back on Friday. I'm talking about my cruise. Lots to talk about. Guess what? Paige missed the boat. Oh, dude, right there. Gotcha. We're going to talk about it on Friday. So come on back and hear the story. So for Scott and Rikki, I'm Mike. We'll see you on Friday. So until then, stay safe, stay healthy, and we'll see you real soon. How's that for a tease?
I know, Mike.
She missed the boat.
She missed the ship.
I just came up with that. Just kidding. Let's see. Episode 2.
Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, dun, dun. She missed the boat because she did. 23. Dun, dun, dun.
I'm about to yawn. I don't know why I'm so tired today.
Dude, I was so tired the day we got like Sunday we got back. I don't know why, because we got to go to the parks. I was just like exhausted. Okay. No, not delete. Yeah. No, wait. Close. Not delete. It doesn't matter. Now the picture on the screen in the office is just the Rancho del Zocalo sign. Why are you teasing me?
Oh no!
Low sign. Oh, there you go. Subscribe to Scotty. Good job, Lisa.
There you go.
I ate at a cocoa themed Mexican restaurant at Disneyland Paris for dinner.
Oh,
It reminded me exactly.
You know, I think I know which restaurant you ate at because I think I ate there, but it was not cocoa themed when I went.
Right across from like Big Thunder Mountain, like in Frontier.
I honestly couldn't tell you.
Okay.
All I remember is it was a Mexican restaurant that was in Disneyland Paris. And it's probably the only Mexican restaurant that was in Disneyland Paris.
Everything is American food though. Like it cracks me up.
Why?
It is. But I have to tell you, it was the slowest service I have ever experienced in my entire life. Like, just it took like an hour just to order food. Wow. So, yeah. I
went to Disneyland Paris and had a burrito, margarita, and Texas barbecue.
Nicely done.
Dude, okay, I'm signing up. I'm going to Paris.
Yeah.
I'm going to Paris.
I had your day of eating, and I had a corn dog too, which was called something.
Oh my god, that's
oh my gosh!
But they put like the toppings on it. They covered the thing in ketchup. Like it was interesting.
Oh,
Ooh, ketchup doesn't go to corn dog mustard.
I'm a ketchup guy though, so they had something called
cheese.
I think they call it American. They called it American. Oh my god, I gotta find the photo. You can get going, but
okay,
I have to know now what they called
a picture of me, you, and Phil kissing the bricks.
Oh, in Indy, nice.
I could not get up that day. Okay, here we go. 2-5-2-4.
Dude, that was when you were like had your first round of iron. I remember you were struggling.
Dude, I was so dead that next day. That's when. Oh, there's your 5.
Hold on. Here it is. Yeah, it's called a Slinky Dog Corn Dog. Add your sauce of choice: ketchup, American mustard, or barbecue. Like, what is American mustard?
I guess just
so that's why I wanted
not
ketchup,
honey mustard.
Man.
Well, because I mean, sometimes we have mustard here called French's or Frenchies or something. Isn't that a brand or something? Like
it's a
French's
brand,
mustard?
yeah. French's, yeah.
I don't know. I use South Carolina mustard now. I've totally changed.
Well, I love when I go to a barbecue joint. That's what I always get.
Yeah, me too. That's my jam. I put it on my sandwiches, my turkey sandwich every day.
Good with pulled pork.
Oh, dude, I put it on everything. I put that on everything. Like that one commercial says, I put it on everything.
That's your taco sauce too?
No, it's on my taco sauce, but I put it on everything else. I have a Mexican restaurant recommendation for St. Thomas. That's where we ate that day. It was so
good. Yeah, I saw that. That was a pretty good.
Yeah, dude, that place was the jam. I thought it was gonna be a hole in the wall, and it was like super nice. Anyway, it cost a fortune too, but oh well. I didn't expect that. Okay, anyway, here we go. 25-24. Welcome to episode 2524 of the Be Our Guest Walt Disney World Trip Planning Podcast. I'm your host, Mike Rallman from BeOurGuestPodcast.com and one of the senior agents over at the Magic for Less Travel. Happy Friday to you. Hope you're getting ready for a great weekend wherever this show finds you around the world. We're going to have a good time talking Disney today, specifically Disney Cruise Line. I'm going to recap my cruise on the Disney Fantasy to the Eastern Caribbean for the first time, this time last week. Man, I'm excited for the weekend, but I got to tell you, this time last week was a lot better. It was so fun to see these islands in the Eastern Caribbean, but we'll talk about it today. But I am excited. I got to tell you this. I am super excited to be back with my great friends, Rikki and Scott, today. So joining us from a DisneyWorldAfterAll.com and the mouseforless.com, we have Rikki. Rikki, happy Friday. Hope you have a great weekend ahead of you. What's going on?
Happy Friday. And I mean, I guess I probably will. I don't know what's on tap because my birthday is next week. So maybe Brian will do something for me. Probably not. I mean, so maybe this weekend will involve something celebratory. Who knows? Not entirely sure. I don't have any plans.
You got to do something fun for your birthday. Come on now.
I know. Well, see, the thing is our anniversary is literally 6 days later. So I know what we're doing for our anniversary. So that I did plan, but I didn't plan anything for my birthday because, he should plan that. So
you did go to Walt Disney World, though, for your kind of birthday.
You know what? That was actually my birthday celebration. Yeah. So
it's not bad.
No. We got to stay at Animal Kingdom Lodge.
Exactly. What do you want? I mean,
yeah. No, that was totally my birthday celebration. Like, I mean, yes, that was technically my birthday, but I mean, this weekend, I don't know what we're doing, but we stayed at Animal. I mean, I'm sure he'll take me out to dinner somewhere, Chuck E. Cheese. I don't know. So no,
Roadhouse is what you.
Yeah, Texas Roadhouse. So we did go to Animal Kingdom Lodge for my birthday. That was fantastic. I had such an amazing stay at Animal Kingdom Lodge. And you know what? We pretty much ate at every restaurant except for Sanaa because we just ate at Sanaa recently. I have a really great hack for Boma's breakfast. You're gonna have to follow along on a Disney World After All to find out what the hack is because it's game changing. It was mind blowing. I told the server about this hack and she's like, "Oh my gosh, I never even thought of that." And she was impressed. And so she said she's gonna have to try what I figured out. So it's coming, I promise. So you'll want to check out a Disney World After All for the hack. We ate at Jico too. I was not as impressed with Chico as I would hope.
Really?
No, I was very sad.
He doesn't have the distinguished palate like us.
No, you know what? My steak didn't have any flavor, which is disappointing when you have steak.
Chico steak?
It
is good.
It did not have any flavor. The sauce was delicious, but the steak was a little, I mean, less flavorful than I had expected.
Wow.
And Brian had, I think, the braised beef, and it was super tough. Like, I took a bite of it, and I'm like chewy tough. And I'm like, yeah, we probably should have sent that back. But yeah, it was not the best experience at Chico, and I was very disappointed in that. I would rather go to Sanaa. Having been to all 3 restaurants in the course of like the last 2 trips, I would rather do Sanaa, Boma, and then Chico. I can't believe I'm saying
coming in hot on a Friday.
I know. Hot take. Yeah.
There you go. That's what we like to show. You never know what you're gonna get, man. Boy, you're putting Chico below Sanaa.
I know, man. It's crazy, but it was both Brian and I were like, we had this discussion while we were sitting by the hot tub. Because nothing says, summer like sitting by a hot tub in July. But yeah, we were totally by the hot tub, and we were like both of us discussing the Chico meal, and we were like, both of us were like, I was not that impressed. So it wasn't just me, it was also Brian. So and he's pretty, I mean, Brian, he's pretty like easygoing about everything. So for him not to,
that's the understatement of the year. That dude's the most easygoing person I think I've ever
exactly. So he's like, I've never sent food back, and he's legit was like, I really should have sent that back. So I mean, that just tells you right there. Yeah. All
right, Scotty G's joining us from Must See Adventures, which I'm sure the first episode of his 14 or 19-day European vacation is coming out imminently. We're waiting. Oh, post. We have Scotty. Yeah. What's up, Scott?
Lots of editing I'll need to do this weekend because you're just like really like pumping it up, Mike. So yeah,
ready. Let's go.
I got to do it. The first episode is just about, it should be done now. I'll say like it's more like what are we going to be doing this trip? Let's go to some airports. And then the next episode will kind of be like our London tour. So it might not be the most exciting, but it'll help like kind of set up the trip.
I love that.
I like it. It sets the tone.
That's my thing. I love that stuff.
I love telling stories, right? It's a 19 episode story. Like it's almost like a TV series for crying out loud.
No kidding. It's season 1.
Yeah, Apple TV will pick this thing up.
But Rikki, if the hack doesn't involve how you can bottle up Boma mustard, then I'm going to be.
Oh, it does not, because I had breakfast. So
you can get the Boma mustard at breakfast.
Oh, so okay. Well, I didn't see
they have
that
the carving station. That's my hack. I go to Boma for breakfast, so I can still load up on my Boma. So you get the carving
station. I definitely didn't see that on the menu. But I was more on the other side. I didn't really do a lot of the meats. Well, I like bacon and stuff like that. But yeah. By the way, they have a coconut oatmeal thing. Oh, that's delicious too. Not gonna lie, that was really good. Coconut oatmeal is delightful.
But Mike, this is the day that people have been waiting for. I've been anxiously waiting on the edge of my seat to hear about the Disney Fantasy, my favorite ship in the Disney fleet. And Mike, I'm just so excited. I've been so pumped for you in this trip. You've been like hyping it up, and then it finally happened. I was sad that it ended. I was happy you got to experience the journey, and now I'm even more excited to hear all about it.
Let's talk about it. So let's try to nail this 7-night cruise down into about 30 minutes here for our listeners. But let's have a conversation. So it's not just me talking here for 30 minutes, because you guys have sailed the ships. You guys know Disney Cruise Line. So we could just, questions, comments, throw it in. So this is one of those cruises I've been looking forward to for a long time. Sailed the Western Caribbean 3 times, just a little background knowledge. I don't know why, but we've just always landed on the Western for some reason. Never sailed the Eastern. So I was super excited about this. Now, this one was different because the Western typically has one more port of call. Usually in the Western, you're doing Grand Cayman, you're doing Jamaica, you're doing Cozumel, and then maybe a day at sea, or maybe you go to a 4th port. But this one only had 2 ports plus Castaway Cay. We did St. Thomas and we did Tortola, and we did Castaway Cay on the last day. So we had 3 sea days. I love sea days. I mean, I could do a cruise to nowhere for 7 nights and totally be happy as a clam. I could never go to a port.
Do you ever feel like embarkation day feels like a sea day in a way too? If you're bored early enough, it almost feels like a sea day, kind of.
Yes. So that was kind of what we did. I'd planned this thing out over a year in advance, to kind of save up for it, because, cruises are expensive. So you got to kind of put it away every month. That's kind of what we do with cruises. And, just like didn't do a few things, like, we didn't do this month and put it up towards the cruise. And that's kind of how we go about it. And Yeah, so we're super excited. Now, elephant in the room, you guys probably saw, Paige was not on the cruise with us. So I'm going to say that right now. The reason Paige was not on the cruise with us is that she is the director of basketball operations up at the University of Illinois, Chicago, and for the women's basketball team. And they got permission for the very first time to take the women's team overseas for an exhibition tour. So they're taking the women's basketball team to Barcelona, Spain, next week. So they're taking the basketball team over there. And so she was really like on the fence forever about like, I could maybe work from the ship because there is internet access, but she's like, I mean, she's the director of basketball operations. She's like in charge of the program. You know, like she works hand in hand with the head coach to get, she's in charge of all the logistics, the travel. She's basically like the travel agent for the team, the whole program. And also the scheduling, anything that has to do with the program, she has to take care of. So she's 27 years old. So she's super nervous about this position and doing everything right. And she, you know, they're going next week. And I told her, like, you can go with us. I'll buy you the internet. You can work from the ship. But to not be in Chicago before taking this whole program for the very first time over to a foreign country for this tour that's super important to the university, she was super nervous. And finally, we just had this talk. And I said, look, there's going to be other cruises. Stay in Chicago, do your job, be with the coach, you know, because the coach was not super excited about her being, you know, 2,000 miles away from Chicago, you know, a week before she's taking these, you know, 18 to 22-year-old college athletes out of the country who probably never left Chicago. A lot of them, you know, definitely the States. Like, this is going to be an undertaking. If she doesn't lose a basketball player in this whole ordeal, I'll be super proud of her. Because after Dennis, if you guys have been following in the clubhouse, Dennis, our good friend who sails Disney Cruise Line a lot, he went on a med cruise about a month and a half ago. And first thing he posted was that he almost got thrown in jail because he got on the wrong cab in Barcelona. So he's giving me nightmares now about my daughter taking these basketball players to Barcelona. My daughter, I mean, she lived in Ireland for 6 months on an exchange program when she went to Mizzou. So she's been out of the country more than I have, for sure. She lived in Ireland, but she's going to be with these girls that are athletes. Like, and she's going to be the point person. Like, it makes me nervous. I know she's going to be fine, but God, please don't get in the wrong cab like Dennis and like end up in jail or something. So anyway, I'm just glad she didn't go. It was fine. Zoe went, our niece. We took her. She's 15, Mallory's 16. They had a blast. So we had a good time. Paige is going to go on the next cruise. So if you don't see her in the pictures, I kind of teased Wednesday's show. She missed a ship. She didn't miss a ship. I mean, we knew she wasn't going to go, but we didn't know for sure until about 10 days before. So that was kind of bad, but you do what you got to do. She had peace of mind. We had peace of mind. We came to it. It was fine. Anyway, so we took Zoe. So Zoe had never seen a cruise ship, by the way. She's 15-year-olds from Missouri, from Wentzville, right outside where we live. My niece, Mallory's cousin. And it was fun getting to see the cruise through her eyes, though. Because, I mean, Scott, she'd never seen a cruise ship before. So, I mean, it's like taking a friend to Magic Kingdom who's never seen the castle, right? But it was like that the whole time. Like, you know, we're like, guess what? Because, you know, you tell her, like, she's going to see the boat. But when we crested that hill going to Port Canaveral, like, she was like, whoa.
Yeah, you don't realize how big that ship is until you're standing right there in port, right? Like, holy smokes. Yeah, I was excited about, I knew about Paige, but I was excited about Zoe. Like, I know Paige has been there before. I know you wanted her to be there. I had the whole family. She's your wingman, you know, in those clubs, because I wasn't going to be there. But I was, when I was looking at your photos, I was honestly like drawn to Zoe every time to see. And she always had those like funky sunglasses on.
She did.
Like,
yeah.
She never changed them too. I thought that must have been the only pair she packed. But I was like so tuned in on her. Like, oh, she's smiling. Oh, yeah, she looks happy. She looks like she's having a ball. And she had some good people leading her the way, you know. So yeah. I'm happy to hear she had a good time.
And she really honestly saved the cruise for us, because think about it. If she wouldn't have gone, Pam and I wanted to do, we had Palo brunch. We had Palo dinner scheduled. We had 4 adult tastings scheduled. So if Zoe had not gone, logistically, just think about this for a second, like Mallory would have been by herself, but by Zoe going, her cousin, those two were gone all the time, like doing stuff together. They went to Vibe. They were at Vibe all the time. They loved to Vibe on this cruise.
Oh, nice.
They went to Vibe the first night, to the meet and greet, to the icebreakers. They met first. You want to know something that's weird and bizarre. Mallory was still in touch with somebody that she sailed with on the Fantasy on the podcast cruise in 2017.
Wow.
So she still talks to him on Snap. He was on this cruise. Because on Snap you can see people's location. She's like, he is on this ship. She came back the first night. She's like, I can see him. He is on this ship. Now she hadn't talked to him a lot, but she's like, he is on this boat. My dad, she told me. And I'm like,
really might, right? Yeah.
I'm like, you got to be kidding me. She's like, and he sailed with us on the Fantasy last time. That's how I know him. And so they talked and vibe, and they hit it off again. And so, like, I mean, they're running around. They did all kinds of stuff. So for 7 nights, we didn't see them. Like, for the most part on the cruise, they just hung out with the crew that was in vibe. On our Instagram, you can see all these pictures. There's like 40 of them that hung out together. They were in the atrium every night. Honestly, her and Zoe didn't come in until about 1 or 1:30 in the morning every night.
Dang.
Way past us. I mean, Pam stayed up. I didn't, because I got up early. But they had the best time just hanging out in vibe, because the vibe activities go late. They did all the taking over. They took a Rocheniere's lab. They went up to the basketball court. They were everywhere. They're doing karaoke. But they had the best time. So that allowed Pam and I every night to go down to the tube and do adult activities, the variety shows.
It's like you guys almost had 2 separate cruises on the ship, and then you would like kind of meet together for the meals.
Yeah, in the show. Yeah,
and then the shows and then the excursions.
Yeah, we do the meal, the show, and then break up, and then we meet back, later that night. But okay, so real quick, let's kind of recap. So we stayed at Old Key West the night before the cruise. Always go in the night before your cruise. Got a 1-bedroom at Old Key West. God, that was beautiful. Loved it. Talked about that on the call-in show briefly. Huge. Got to look out over the golf course. We were in building 29, great location. Had dinner at Olivia. Oh yeah, like a Peninsular, I think it was called.
Peninsular Road. Yeah.
Dude, I wish I could stay there a week. I was like, I don't want to just be here for one night. Anyway, we were going on the cruise.
And then it's like you went from that to like you went from the bigger room to the smaller room.
Well, that's what I told Zoe. I was like, Zoe, dude, this thing is huge. This is not, because she doesn't ever come to Walt Disney World that much either. I said, don't get used to how big this room is. I was like, because now we're going to go to a stateroom on a cruise ship. And I'm like, it's not even like a hotel room. I'm like, it's going to be, and we had a 5-person stateroom. Like, it was a 4A. So it was the biggest one besides concierge. But I was like, it's not going to be like this when we get on the boat. I'm like, it's going to be small. It's going to be really small compared to this 1-bedroom villa. I'm like, it's going to be tight. So just prepare your brain. I'm like, we're going to be on top of each other for 7 nights. She's like, it's cool. She's really laid back. But it was fine. Anyways, we enjoyed that. We had dinner at Olivia's, rocks, buttermilk chicken, always great. Hung out at the pool, just love that. And then I surprised the girls with a limo. I did do that. We didn't take a limo back. We took the bus back to the airport after the cruise. I told them, we're doing it one way. So the limo, and it was our limo driver that we had, the same guy.
Yes, Bill.
Bill. And he said to shout out Scott, shout out Pam. Everybody rode with us last time.
That's so funny. We had him twice then.
Yes. Yeah. So we had the same guy, and he remembered us. So he took us over, and that was it was a splurge. It wasn't that much more actually than 5 Disney Cruise Line transfers.
When you think about it, it's really not that bad of a splurge when you have like a group that big. Yeah,
it wasn't that much more. So we got there, boarding group 9, right through, no problem. One of the cool things was, and plus, we always do this when we have somebody with us. Like, we do the guard Rallman or name or something. We get introduced on ship together. We did the I forgot Romulan, because her last name's Romulan. So we did like Romulan or something. And she was super excited to see the ship when we got like in. The staterooms were ready at 1:30. Like, I thought that was super early. I thought it used to be like 3:00.
Yeah, it seems kind of early, I think.
So we got in our staterooms very fast. Of course, we went up to Cabanas right as soon as we got on the ship, had a great first lunch. It's a little chaotic, but who cares? You're getting your first lunch. We're starving. Went around the ship and just, got ready for the sail away. And the sail away is like the greatest. You get a drink, you watch, you wave to everybody at Jetty Park, and the cruise is like, it's underway. And Scott, you just did your cruises, 2 of them back to back. I mean, is sail away not the greatest?
It's the best feeling, because like you just know, like, I'm on vacation for a long period of time. Life doesn't get better than this moment right here. I'm with my people. Everyone's excited. No work, no school, just fun. Like it gives you goosebumps almost, man, when you're just thinking like, I'm about to start like this epic adventure, man. And I'll say there's no sail away like a Disney Cruise Line. Like sail a wave, I think is what they call it. And that was like just the wave. But there's something about the way they do it on Disney Cruise Line is just spectacular. I just love it.
And they honk, they do the horns to all the different songs and stuff. So we enjoyed that. I did get my popcorn bucket.
Oh yeah.
Got my picture there.
What was your muster station? Was it like in the theater or?
Oh, nope. It was on deck 4.
Oh, okay. I've done that before too. I've been there.
And you know you're a veteran cruiser because both Mallory and Pam were like, I hope we get Walt Disney Theater. And I
know. That's what I was just saying. Was it in the theater? Yeah.
No, it's never in the theater.
You're under the lifeboats.
Yeah, I know.
Yep, under the lifeboats is always where it is for me.
Because it says on the door, right? I went over and peeked on the door. I was like, ooh, nope, we're on deck 4, outside. Anyway, so what else? Let's see. So Sail Away, we did that, and
I gotta interrupt. Shout out to Stephanie. Like Zoe is watching and loving the recap right now. Like I just said, Zoe, it was amazing watching the photos with Mike because you looked so happy on that sail. And it just made me. I just loved it.
Horn to Zoe, and she didn't know that her uncle's a pirate either. By the way, we'll get to that in a minute. We'll get to pirate night.
Oh boy,
I think I scared her. I think you scared all of Instagram. Honestly, I think I did. I know I did, and that was the point. Okay, so we're gonna get back here. Shout out Steph. Okay, so here we go. I wanted to say we bought the internet. We've never bought the internet before on a cruise, so I want to throw this out there for everybody. My wife bought it because Steph, Zoe's mother, it's her daughter, right? And she sent her off with Pam and Mike, right? And like just for a 7-night cruise, she was probably worried, right? I mean, dude, I dressed up like a pirate. She wanted to be in touch with her kid. So she bought the internet. She wanted her to buy the internet. She's like, buy the internet, I'll pay you back, whatever. So we're like, cool. I was going to buy the internet for Paige so she could work. Well, Paige didn't go. So I bought, and plus I said this on the live call-in show. You killed it so hard with internet updates while you were on your 14-night cruise. I had to buy the internet. You peer pressured me into buying the internet because I had to update the Discord because you did so well on your cruise. I had to post pictures on mine too. So I bought it, and I will say, I was not expecting the internet to be as good as it was. And we didn't buy the high package. We bought like the middle. There's 3 packages. I bought actually Pam did all the things. She just said, click here and you'll have internet on your phone because she bought it for me. She bought for Zoe and Valerie and myself. And so I clicked it on my phone and it started working. It worked good enough that we were FaceTiming one night in the middle of the ocean. We FaceTimed. Like I was in a tube in the middle of the ocean. We were talking on FaceTime. I could post all my pictures, videos, all that stuff. It was wild. I mean, I don't think Disney Cruise Line uses Starlink, but it worked. I know Royal does use
Starlink. Yeah. So I think I said this on the live show, not to be a repeat for anyone, but if you didn't listen to that, like I'm sitting just watching TV in my living room and Mike's FaceTiming me. I know he's on the ship. And like, I was like, okay, like, is this like an emergency situation? does he need me to send some money? Like, is he like being helicoptered in? I need to go pick him up. So like, if you have a friend that's on a ship, like I always recommend if they call you, answer it.
But for real, dude. Because I mean, you could be in a Mexican jail or something. I mean, we didn't go to Mexico. That'd have been really bad because we didn't ever went there.
Ironic.
I could have been in a jail in the Virgin Islands.
But no, my man was in the tube getting ready for some like 90s music trivia or something, or like some kind of game show. Like this is incredible.
I mean, we gotta say this real quick. We're gonna talk a little bit about your adventures too, but you won like an 800-person trivia, like music, name that tune, which you'll see on Must See Adventures. A little spoiler here coming up. But dude, they made you the king of the ship. Like you had the crown,
I had it all.
You had the whole thing. So I mean, who knows? It could be like the phone a friend. You always answer.
Honestly, like I mean, had a lot of thoughts during that, and I would be lying if I didn't say this. One of my thoughts was, man, I wish Mike was here to see this.
Oh my God. That's what I told my wife. I was like, I would have paid $1,000 to be in the audience to see this. Like he is up there with a crown and a scepter.
It was name that tune, and that's like your jam. That's your my thing.
When you laid down the one note thing, I was like, oh, dude, baller. I can name that tune in one note. Oh, anyway, so we gotta get back. Yeah. It's the stateroom. We had a 4A stateroom, sleeps 5, only 4 of us because Paige bailed. So it was great, right? So the way it works is with the 4, you have the queen, you have the pull-out sofa, which turns into, I thought it turned into like a queen, but it didn't. It pulled out just into one. Mallory slept on that. It's like a 1 person. You have the pull-down bed, which Zoe slept on, which is the primo, because it's got like it's like the bunk bed, and it's got the little like stars above it. I love that. Yeah. Actually, I'm too big for that, but I'd like to sleep on it. And then it's got the Murphy bed, which comes out of the wall over by the veranda.
Oh, I didn't realize that. Okay, that's cool.
Because in the 4As are like, they're deeper than the regular like veranda rooms. They're bigger. You don't notice it at first, but you know, and it's got the showers, like rounded shower, and it's got a tub. It's a bigger shower in the split bath.
So Mallory didn't sleep in the Murphy bed, so no one slept in that at all then.
No. So what we did, he pulled it out the first night, and like we didn't need it, right? Because Zoe slept on the top bunk, Mallory slept below her on the couch, pulled out, and then we slept on obviously the queen. And so we just told him, like, just don't pull the Murphy out. Like, we don't need it. because what it did, it kind of cut off the veranda when it was out because it kind of goes across there. We're like, yeah, just leave that up. You know, you don't need to mess with that each night. So then we just slept on that, and it was great. The stateroom was a little bit larger. It was so much so that we booked the same kind for the podcast cruise on the Magic next year. So even with 4 of us, she might bring a friend, but the 4 of us, that'll be a great option. So that was a great stateroom, deck 7 midship. Now I think I talked about this on I think I was mentioned this on the call-in show. Our location was very midship. Now people always want that midship stateroom. We were right though in the middle because again, remember the Fantasy has 3 banks of elevators. It's got midship elevators, forward and aft. The Wish is weird. And so will the Treasure. It only has 2 sets, like kind of halfway mid to aft and halfway forward to mid. So we were like right in the middle. And the thing was, some people are like, oh, don't put me by the elevators. It's tricky when you look at the deck plans. You're never even by the elevators. Even if you book a stateroom that looks on the deck plans like you're by the elevators, those are great staterooms by the elevators because you're like the elevators are separated in like a vestibule.
Right.
You can save all kinds of steps. We were way a lot of steps from either set of elevators. We went aft or mid. We still had a ton of steps to get to either set of elevators. So we had a great location, real quiet. But I mean, we had to walk a long way to get to either. We went after mid. We had a long way to go, which was fine. I mean, but we just walked a lot every time we went anywhere.
I feel like no matter where I am on the ship, where my stateroom is, I feel like I'm always walking a lot. And it's not too bad, right? I mean, it's just a few extra steps, right? So
yeah, it wasn't bad. The stateroom was great. We love the stateroom. I will say characters, like we've said this many times, characters everywhere. Selfies with Goofy, Pluto, Minnie, you know. If you like characters, man, a Disney cruise is where to go. I mean, they're and rare characters. And
I'm sorry, I didn't. Were you on starboard side, right? Or
we were starboard? Yep.
Yeah.
So we overlook Castaway Key.
That's the best. When you have a Castaway cruise, that's the best way to be.
Yep. You want to be starboard if you're going to Castaway Key, if you can help it. All right. Let's see. So what else? I want to talk about the shows real quick because we don't talk about shows a lot. We went to 3 times out of the 7 nights. We went to the Walt Disney Theater. There was not a show the first night, too. I don't know if this is normal. But they did not have anything in the Walt Disney Theater on embarkation night, which I thought was great because a lot of times they will have a show that first night, but like everybody's so rushed, right? You're trying to get to dinner. You're trying to get your stateroom set up. You're trying to get your luggage. The embarkation day is hectic.
There's pressure there.
Yeah. And if you try to go to the show, it's even crazier. They didn't even have a show the first night, which I was like, oh, that's great. It just took the pressure off. We went to dinner and then the rest of the night, we just kind of just wandered around the ship until we went to the tube at 10 o'clock. But we did see Aladdin, we saw Frozen, and we saw Believe. And I'd never seen Frozen or Aladdin, and those shows were awesome. I mean, I'm not a show guy. Mallory really wanted to see these shows. They were, and I'm not a show dude, but I love these shows. They were so well done, just about an hour each. You know, they're not super long, so they don't, drag on. They were so good. And I love Believe. That's only on Disney Cruise Line. It's about a dad and a daughter. And I cried. I'll tell you.
I've seen that one many times.
Yeah, exactly. And it's the last night of the cruise. And I'll tell you the best part of the cruise, I'll just get to the punch right here. After we walked out of that out of last night of the cruise, we walk out of Disney's Believe. Because Mallory the whole time's like, I love that. The whole week leading up, she's like, I can't wait to see Believe. I can't wait to see Believe. I remember seeing that on previous cruises. I love that show. So we finally got to see it the last night. We're walking out. We're walking past the shops, right? Like as you go out of the theater, you walk past the stores on deck 4. She comes up to me and just gives me a hug and says, this has been a great cruise, Dad. And I'm like, oh my God, the cruise was worth it. I got a hug from my 15-year-old daughter. I was like, yeah, yes. So that was worth it. So those 3 shows were awesome. We saw a group called Junk. Like they play like percussion instruments, like tubes and stuff. They were wild. We only saw the adult show down in the tube. They were crazy. I showed you the video, Scott. Well, they were.
Was that? I was wondering if that was Junk. Yeah.
People were almost naked in that show because they were doing a contest. It was. We'll talk about the tube in a second. It was crazy, but we saw them, but not in the theater. So we did that. So the theater performers were great.
Was there like a comedian or anything, or like a magician or anything like that?
It was like a variety guy. Like he juggled like knives while he was balancing on like a.
Okay, so we had a guy like that too. I never laughed so hard in my life. Like I don't know what it was.
Yeah,
like,
He was telling jokes.
They're like comedian / entertainer and juggling guys. Like I love them.
Yeah, he was like blowing a balloon and juggling like knives while the ship was moving and like on a board that was like on a coffee can or something. I mean, it was crazy. Like, hey, and like he kept doing different things, card tricks. It was wild. Yeah, I love that kind of stuff. I think of Simon now when I think of that because he's an entertainer on a cruise ship. Okay, so that was fun. Let's see. So let's talk dining. Rotational dining, of course, Disney Cruise Line. You have 3 major dining rooms. On the Fantasy, it's Animator's Palette. You have Enchanted Garden, and you have Royal Palace Court. I can't remember court. I think
Royal Palace.
Is it court? Right? Palace. I don't know. Whatever it was. It's the royal room. So I will say we all agreed, Pam and I and Mallory, who've been on before, the food on this cruise was better than it's ever been with Disney Cruise Line. I mean, it was good. It was good. We had great meals. We did have a favorite dessert, which I talked about on Sunday night, which I said I'd say on this show. So, of course, Pam and I, our top favorite dessert for the whole cruise was the chocolate souffle at Apollo dinner. I mean, that always wins, right? I mean, dude, it takes a half hour to make. It comes out hot. Our waiter, Alex, which we had for brunch, and then you obviously have the same waiter if you come back a second time. He had us for dinner. He's like, the chef made this. He's so cool. He's like, first thing he tells me is like, don't touch the pipkin or whatever the thing's made in, the little ceramic thing. He's like, it's great. It's beautiful. He's from Italy. He's with the accent. First thing I did was grab the pipkin. I don't know what I was thinking. Like, because he pokes the hole in the thing, right? And then he gets the little chocolate and the little vanilla. He's going to pour it in. I grabbed the thing to move it closer to me. I don't know why I didn't grab the plate. I grabbed the pipkin thing. In Palo. I'm like, I'm an idiot. Like, because I wanted to eat it so badly. I'm like, oh, dude, this is why I booked this cruise, was for this dessert right here. Dude, he's just looking at me like, you dumb American. Like, you are an idiot American. And I'm here serving you. Because he's like, I mean, clear as day. This is going to be so good. I'm going to poke the hole. I'm going to jump in the chocolate sauce and the vanilla sauce. Don't touch, whatever you do, don't touch your pipkin. I mean, 3 seconds later, I grabbed the thing. He still let me eat the dessert. I mean, God bless him. Anyway, it was beautiful. It was awesome. So, but the top dessert we had was, and you will not believe this, you or Scott or Rikki, you will not believe it was at Pirate Night. And I know you guys don't like the Pirate Night menu.
No, I hate Pirate Night menu.
There was a tart. Okay, so I've learned that I'm a fan of tarts. I've never had a tart in my life, but a tart is just like a little pie. Tart is basically just like a little pie. I didn't know what that meant, but I learned that. And it was like a caramel cheesecake, like a little dense little tart. We all 4 destroyed this thing. It was so good. So if you go to Pirate Night, it's the signature dessert. Get that thing. It was.
Did you try to order it another night? They probably only have it on Pirate Night, though, don't they?
So,
no,
yeah.
I didn't think because I ordered 2 desserts every night. Mm-hmm. Usually I'd order the sundae, so I got the ice cream sundae because there's usually an ice cream sundae, and then I would get like the cheesecake or the lava cake or some kind of a cake. But it was so good. So on the Pirate Night,
a Mickey bar at all? Because that used to be your go-to.
I did not have a Mickey bar the whole cruise. Now you say that. I've grown up. I've gotten older. I did not have a Mickey bar. Okay, so that was dining. Loved it. So we did. I got to talk about Palo Brunch. So good. I mean, you got to do. I'm just telling you. I mean, we've all talked about this ad nauseum. You got to do Palo Brunch if you sell at Disney Cruise Line. It's gonna be the best meal, probably. It's my best meal that I have all year. I'll be honest. Alex brought us all 7 desserts on the menu.
That photo you shared.
Oh my God!
All 7 desserts. Okay, and I think we talked about this with Scott before we started recording on Sunday, that here's something that I'm getting out of my comfort zone now, and I'm liking this because normally I would have only enjoyed.
Wait, hang on. I want to go back here. You're getting out of your comfort zone and you're enjoying it? Well,
here's the thing. I like chocolate desserts. I like ice cream. You guys know that. We go to Dairy Queen every Friday and Saturday night. If you follow me on Instagram, I usually get a
peanut butter parfait,
but I've switched now over to the Oreo Cupfection, the Oreo brownie Cupfection, which is next to it on the menu. It's kind of like a peanut butter parfait, but it's got a brownie in it. And it doesn't melt as fast in the summer, which is important when you drive a Jeep and you're trying to get it home before it melts.
Oh, yeah.
That's just practical advice. Anyway, so he brings out all 7 desserts. There's a picture on my Instagram, so check it out. Be Our Guest Mike brings them all out. And he says, this is the one you're going to like the best. And he points at this thing called the limoncello. It's called.
Yeah.
So it's like a piece of cheesecake, but it's like lemon flavored. It's kind of like alternating like lemon and like lemon, vanilla. And I'm like, there's chocolate here. There's like a creme brulee. There's like chocolate. Rikki, I bite into this limoncello thing, and
see, that would not be for me. I do not like lemon flavored anything, so that would not be hallelujah for me. That would be like,
you say that. That's how I thought.
I hate lemon flavored things, so
I would
not enjoy that.
Alex gives you this, dude. I am not into lemon desserts. I'm telling you, I took one bite. I'm not kidding. That's what happened. And then Pam and I were sparring for this piece, and we had 7 desserts on the table. And it was that, and there was another dessert that I would have never ordered either, and it was the second favorite. It was his Italian. It was like an Italian kind of dessert that he says like they have back in Italy where he's from. He's like, you'll love this one too. I would have never ordered this thing. We're like sparring for this thing. That was number 2. And then like the other ones were all awesome as well. But that was the thing. Like he brought him out, and he, of course they explain everything, what everything is. And he's like, I'm telling you, you'll like this. Try it. And I did. And like in the past, I wouldn't have taken that chance, but I did. And I think it's the beauty of a cruise, right? You're not paying extra to take a chance to try something you may or may not like. It's all there. And I was like, oh my God, I can't wait to get back on my next cruise to try this limoncello thing. It's going to be the bomb. I mean, I want the heavens to open up and I want to have tarts. I never had a tart before. And I had a tart like every time there was a tart on the menu at the regular restaurants. I got it and I loved it. I hear they have tarts at Walmart of like $2. Like, I mean, they're not the same probably, but they're tarts. So I'm going to be going to my Walmart. I'm excited because it opened up kind of new experiences in dining for me. Scott, I know you're way more adventurous and like you go to fancier restaurants and stuff.
I love hearing you experimenting, like Rikki said, and you're liking it too. I love it. I know you still wore the weird howl shirt to the brunch, but I saw you wore something different for dinner, so that was good.
I did. We dressed up because we were celebrating our anniversary. I mean, like a few weeks late, but yeah, we kind of dressed. She got
great. So you said something that really hit with me though, and Jared, our friend Jared, said it on a different podcast recently too. You said that Palo brunch specifically is like the meal that you look forward to the most every year, like the best meal of the year. And Jared said something similar recently too to me. He said that is like the best value you can find on Disney Cruise Line, because if you're like on land somewhere, that's like a $400 to $500 meal maybe, like with all the food and the quality that you get and all that. So I think it really is. Like, I just wanted to hit that home. Like, not that I want everyone listening here to like book up Palo and then we won't be able to get it anymore. But
and trust me, it's already hard enough to get Palo.
But we're for the people here, right? We're for our listeners. So don't tell anyone else. But like, that really is one of the best experiences on Disney Cruise Line. I'm craving, and I'm ready to book a cruise just so I can go to Palo. Like, I just love it that much. And you're selling it even more today, Mike.
Well, here's the bonus too. When you get to the platinum level with Disney Cruise Line, your first Palo meal of the cruise is free. Amazing. So we used, he decided which one was more expensive. I don't know if it was the dinner or the brunch, but he's like, we're using that one for your free one. Because he was smart. Like,
smart man, that Alex guy.
We got one of the meals for, as part of our perk. So I was like, yes, that's why we ate there twice. But yeah, I mean, it was in the experience, like we just don't go to fancy places. My wife and I are Texas Roadhouse. Like you see Reed, LS Teca, like that. I mean, we're comfortable there. I mean, this first place we got back, we went to LS Teca. That's our jam. But the cool thing about Palo is they take people like us, like Scott, you and Elizabeth are like super comfortable in fancy restaurants. Like Pam and I really aren't, like, because we don't go to those places a lot, but they don't make you feel uncomfortable there. Like, honestly, I mean, I really am not a fancy food person, but Alex, even with his accent and being from Italy, and he knows everything about everything when it comes to fancy foods, he brought it down to our level and made us comfortable. And the 3-hour, 2.5 hours that we were there for dinner was so enjoyable. And he was always taking care of us, but in a comfortable, it was almost like a fancy, like Olivia's experience. Like they took care of us in a comfortable way in a super fancy restaurant. Even like, the head of the restaurant came by like twice and asked how we're doing. Is there anything we can do for you? I mean, we felt like
you're like, what more can you do for me? 7 desserts and best service ever. Yeah.
It's so cool. I mean, because, you feel real fancy for one night. And I think that's what a cruise is about. So definitely go to, and Remy's, I'm sure, is like on another level too. We just didn't go there. Let's see. So let's talk about night entertainment. Morgan was our adult activities director, and she was awesome. She's from London. She always called me out every time I came into the tube. She's like, Mike, from the first night, because I got up on stage and played
a game. As you should. Yes.
Oh, yeah. And I mean, that's kind of how it is. So I have a question for you guys too. Isn't it kind of funny? Like, you got to get involved with your cruise early. I think, like, go to the adult area the first night, get involved in the game shows or the activities. And then what tends to happen, like the trivias and stuff like that, I think that a lot of the same people go to those kind of things. And like, so there was a guy named Nick, like him and his family, he had like his parents there, his sisters and stuff. And they had a group of like 10. Like, we saw them at a lot of the same things. And Nick was kind of like my pseudo Scott for the cruise. Like, he was a lot of the activities, and like we'd high five and stuff. And we had a good time, but it was fun because like the adult activities director, I think they like to kind of see like the people that are cool with getting up on stage and playing their games, and they call you out, and it made the cruise fun for me because I got to get involved, but I think it makes it easier on them to have people that are willing to kind of be active in their activities too. Did you see that on your cruises?
Oh yeah, I see that on every cruise, and I highly recommend that. I mean, some people might not necessarily want to be cruise famous, but I'm all for being cruise famous. Like, I want
to see those people again. Who cares?
Yeah, I want to be seen on that first night, and like everyone pointing at me the rest of the cruise, like, oh, that's that guy. Like, which I feel like you and I always do that when we're on a ship. But yeah, it just brings this cool like atmosphere, right? Like, you get to know people. That's one of my favorite things about cruising in general is like you're just sitting in a lounge, and then most people are like not afraid to talk to people. So you just learn their story. I say that all the time on the podcast. One of my favorite thing about this podcast is learning the listener's story, where they're from, who they are, and things like that. And like on a cruise, you got all this time, and that's what you do. And like, and then you start seeing them in night 2, night 3, night 4, and they become like a mini family for you. And I'm glad that you were doing that. And like, I'm glad you called that out, because that is one of my favorite things of cruising. Yeah,
it's funny because like I saw Nick on both islands. Like, I'm like, dude, it's so crazy. Like, Nick. I mean, one time he was kind of tore up in Tortola, but hey, what's up? I mean,
sounds like Nick might have been torn up a lot, maybe, but
Nick was having fun, dude. Nick was partying. I mean, he was having a good time. That's what cruising is about, though. Like, he's with his family, having a good time. Man, it's exactly what it was all about. I loved it. Like, he was having a good time. I mean, that's what cruising's about. He's with his family. But yeah, Morgan just did a great job with, like, of course, you got Match Your Mate, you got Quest, you got, I don't know, like where you had to like match what the audience was going to say, and you had a whiteboard, you know,
like blankety blank kind of.
Yeah, it's like, I forget. Yeah. I mean, all the cruises kind of do the same kind of game show activities, but they're fun. Like, you just don't get to do that stuff in the real world, play these game shows. We love that every night. That was a good time. Let's see. So real quick, the islands again, Tortola and St. Thomas down in the Eastern Caribbean, beautiful. The water's so blue and the islands are so green. It's way different than the Western. They just there's just all these islands. As you're coming in, there's all these little small islands that just pop up out of the water. It looks like Moana or something. You know, like Valerie kept saying, it's so beautiful. It looks like Moana. These little islands are scattered here and there and everywhere as you're kind of sneaking into the port, and then you dock. And we did zip lining in Tortola. Pam and I had done that 18 years ago on our honeymoon. We still got it. We've decided we could still do it. Not as quickly as we did back in 2006, but we did it. The last one, dude, we climbed up a huge tower. We're like, what? You want us up there? But we did. We made it because of peer pressure, but it was fun. It was beautiful, beautiful view of the ship as you're zipping down that last line. You're like, what? But we did. And we had a good time there. In St. Thomas, we just did a beach day to a place called Emerald Beach. Crazy in St. Thomas, though. The airport, there's an airport, I mean, dude, right on the other side of the beach. And I mean, 737's landing right there. It was crazy. Like,
that's a famous like airport. Yeah, like people know about that airport. Yeah.
It was awesome. Like, I love airplanes. So I'm like, dude, I'm floating out there in the beach. Like, and I was watching 737s coming in. I mean, they're not coming in a lot. They're coming in like maybe once every half hour. It's not like a busy airport. It just means an island. But I was like, holy cow, like I love watching airplanes. I'm like, I'm in heaven, dude. I'm in a Caribbean island, like in a warm water. It was like a Wednesday morning, and like watching airplanes coming in and taking off. I'm like, oh my, and it's the most beautiful thing I'd ever seen. Wonder of the Seas was coming in behind me, like right behind me. Here comes Wonder of the Seas. And I'm like, oh my God, I get to see a gigantic cruise ship coming. I was like, I'm in like planes, trains, and automobiles. I'm like I could not be in a more heavenly place. I love cruise ships. I love airplanes. I'm in the ocean. Like, you know, Zoe and Mallory had rented a kayak, and they got way out there too. And Pam was freaking out. And I'm like, Pam, what are you going to do? They don't have their cell phones with them. I mean, like, did you even ask them if they know how to steer a kayak? I mean, they're from Missouri. I'm like, and I mean, they were way out there, like, and they were about to go around the corner of these rocks. I'm like, dude, they might end up in Puerto Rico. I'm like, well, we can't even yell to them. I mean, I can't catch up to them at this point. They're probably a quarter mile out there. But I mean, finally, and I was like, dude, I told Pam, I was like, there's a bar right there. I'm going to get you a margarita. So I got her a strawberry frozen margarita. We had margaritas till they came back in so she could chill. Because we were freaking out. I was freaking out too, but I couldn't freak out either because she was freaking out. I was like, dude, they're so far out. They're like, you know, it was like that Moana thing, like what the water was calling to them because the horizon was calling. They were closer to the horizon than us, man. They were like, they're ready to visit Yachty.
Sounds like they had a nice excursion themselves.
They did do that. I mean, I was like, dude, their arms are going to be falling off if they ever come home. But they did. They came home. But yeah, so they had fun in St. Thomas. Oh, by the way, in St. Thomas, before we went back to, they have great shopping areas in both, like touristy little shopping areas. We went to a restaurant, Mexican restaurant in St. Thomas by the port called Agave Tequila Bar and Mexican restaurant. Go there. It is. We had a waitress named Paris. She's a model and an actress. She was awesome. And oh my God, the chips, the guac, the salsa. We had tacos. We had, I had empanadas. They're so good there. It's right there by the shopping area. Go to Agave. It rocks. It was expensive though. It shocked me.
Awesome.
It was fancy though. So that we did that. Let's see what else. Any other, we watched Diaper Dash. That was a hoot. I love doing that. Jack Shucks. Oh, and the taste.
Was there something new that you did on the ship at all, or like something that you don't do very often? But since you know Zoe and Mallory going to the clubs, like did you and Pam do something that you don't normally get to do?
Not really. I mean, we just we did a lot of we did our tastings. I did tequila tasting twice. I did it once with Pam. The second time I knew she wouldn't want to do it. She doesn't like tequila, but she did it once with me.
But less guilt doing that because then you knew the kids were like off doing something. Fun,
they were off doing their thing, right? So I didn't care. We had a great person that did both tequilas and he also did the martini. Dwayne from Jamaica was awesome. We did those in Skyline. We did mixology. Mixology was up in Meridian, which is the bar between Remy and Palo. But I was disappointed in mixology because we had a sommelier who did that one and he didn't let us mix. We didn't get to be hands-on. And he was like, this one's going to be more about smelling the drinks and about the aromas and all this. And, we got to drink them, but I want to be Tom Cruise.
You're like, I just want to be behind the bar.
I know. I want to be like Cocktail. Like I want to be, all that. I want to be hands-on. So, I mean, it was fun. It was nice. Meridian's great and everything. It was, I learned a lot, got to taste some nice drinks, but I will say again, this is 2 cruises in a row, the podcast cruise last summer and this cruise. Martini tasting was our favorite tasting. And I mean, even more than tequila. I like tequila. Don't get me wrong. It was great. But martini tasting, awesome. We did 5 martinis and we got to mix them though. Dwayne let us get up there. Everybody took a turn, like 3 people at a time. We shook them. We did the pours, like where you count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, poured the stuff. And he even gave us the proportions to take home so we could make these at home. Key lime martini, rocking. Oh my God. We had one that night at the bar at the Tube, our last night. It was so good. And a Black Forest martini was so good. But yeah, so if you ever get a chance,
lemon and lime, your new favorite flavors, right? Apparently.
Yeah, so good. But I thought martinis were super fancy. They're not. It's just that they're served in a martini glass. So I'm a martini guy now.
They're good. You have like sold me on this because you talked about this last year too when you did it on the Wish. I've never done a martini tasting on a Disney Cruise Line, and now like that's going to be the thing I'm looking for most. Now that's going to be like my top priority for when it comes to the tastings. Yeah, and so that was great. Castaway Cay was awesome. Now here's the great thing about Castaway Cay: it was not sunny, and I loved that because I'm a person who just hates when it's super sunny and you just get burned to death, and it's just like the sun beats down on you. The high, the day we were on Castaway Cay, it was cloudy and 84. Ooh. Again. Yes. I know people want those perfect pictures that it's sunny and beautiful. No, I did not want that. 84 and cloudy was perfect for Castaway Cay because it's like 150 degrees here in St. Louis right now and sunny, and it's just brutal. It was great. We had a great day. We didn't get into Castaway Cay till 10:30, which is weird for us because I'm used to being off the ship at like 8:30. So listen to this. I did not do the Castaway Cay 5K because we had to be back on the ship at 4:00 for our tasting. Didn't get off the ship till 10:45. Didn't want to waste an hour running the 5K because I'm slow now
because I can't run hardly because of my hamstring. So I ran on the treadmill early that morning and just called it a day. I'm like, and I didn't get a medal or anything. I've got the medal before. It's fine. So I just did my run in the morning in Senses, called it a day, and just went straight to the beach.
I like it.
Spent a little time on the beach and then went straight to Cookies 2 because that's
the way to do it.
Cookies 2 is why you're there, right?
Still no chicken sandwiches there, right?
But they served it on the ship. So it was all good. They served it back at Flo's, dude, and it was spicy.
Oh,
and it burned me, dude. It was hot. My nose, they had so much spice on it. My nose was running.
Paulo, amazing brunch, and you had the spicy chicken sandwich on the ship. I need to book this now, Mike.
I'm telling you. And so here's another tip: Flo's will have a special every day back in the window, kind of that Fillmore's window, I think it is. It's past the pizza one. So every day they would have like a special. So they have like a cheesesteak one day, they had the spicy chicken sandwich the one day. They had like a pita or something, but it was like
nice.
all cooked. So you check out the specials back there because they were smoking good every day. So lunchtime, go back there and check out what the daily special is because it was the spicy chicken sandwich.
I love it.
Oh, so good. We didn't get to go to we never got the hard ice cream. That was one thing we didn't do. I was disappointed. But I mean, dude,
after all of that, didn't Pam say that's the one thing she was looking forward to?
Yes, but that one day we did the brunch, I had 13 desserts.
Oh, yeah, 13 desserts is a lot of desserts. Okay,
desserts in that one day because I had 7 for brunch. I had 2 at dinner that night, plus I had ice cream cones throughout the day. 13 in one day. I know, that's ridiculous.
There's going to be a picture of you somewhere on the fantasy that's you talk about me with Crystal Palace, like I'm like a world record holder. You're a world record holder on the fantasy. 13
True story.
I didn't mean to. I didn't realize until I went to bed that night. And then I was like, dude, I might not wake up in the morning. It was sad. So we did that. I'm trying to think. I mean, the thing was, here's the one thing though. I mean, I did get up and run every morning. And Pam and I have been making it a point this summer. Every morning we walk 2 miles in our neighborhood, and every night we walk 2 miles in our neighborhood. So we've been doing that. We did that on the cruise. So we went down to deck 4, and every morning-ish, we'd walk 2 miles around deck 4. And then in the evening, we'd go for a 2-mile stroll after dinner around deck 4. And what we noticed was a lot of people were doing the same. And so I liked it because I didn't get to run on deck 4 because I ran on the treadmills. It was a little bit easier on my hamstring to run on the treadmills have a little bit more give than the ground. So I did that, and I was doing intervals a little bit too, which helps a little bit easier with the treadmill. I could track things a little bit better. But just walking on deck 4 with my wife and seeing the sunset, just, it was great. Like I enjoyed walking deck 4 with my wife. So we did that, got a little activity in. Also, I averaged 38 flights of steps a day on the cruise because we only took the steps.
Oh my gosh.
Except like after a tasting here.
Then you definitely don't want to take flights of stairs.
Because that health app tells you, because I have an Apple Watch, it tells you how many flights. I average 38 flights of stairs a day for 7 days. It says your health trends have changed. And I looked, 38 flights of steps. So that right there, I mean, that should get you a dessert or 2, right? Maybe. Because we were on deck
4 or 13, I'm just saying.
Maybe that's why my hamstring still hurts so bad. But we did the stairs a lot. And so we did that. Plus, they're faster, I think, than the elevators a lot. Well, I mean, it depends.
I absolutely agree with you. I think they're way faster.
Like after show, they are. I mean, there's a lot of times there's nobody at the elevators.
I still usually take the stairs too. I think it's much faster.
Mentally, I felt better doing the stairs. I'm like, okay,
I'm team elevator. I'm on vacation.
Unless I'm like, I mean, by the 4th flight of stairs, if I'm like going really high up, I'm like, oh, this was a mistake. But
I thought it was a mistake every time, but then I'm like, I get an ice cream cone out of this.
Yeah, I still take the stairs anyway. So I'll just puff my way up them.
It's probably stupid, but that's what I did. I mean, I do dumb stuff all the time like this. But I mean, it was just a great cruise. So the Eastern Caribbean, we're going to do this again in 26. We've already decided. But here's the thing. We love the fantasy. We love the layout of this ship. We love the dream and the fantasy class. We love how this ship is laid out. Now the fantasy is going over to England. So in 26, it'll probably be the treasure. I mean, we'll do that, I guess, but we're not a bit, like my favorite class of ships, the dream and the fantasy class. I wish that ship was still going to be down there.
And it definitely looks like they're all in on that wish, class right now. Cause they just announced another new ship, out of Japan. And it's going to be the wish, style ship as well. So that's 4 ships. Well, 3, and then whatever they do with the adventure. That's Well, wait, no, that would be 4. Yeah, that's still 4, right? Yeah.
What's
That's
funny though is, so during again, you loosen up and talk to people during your tastings, right? And we'll cut this. We're getting a little bit long, but after our tasting, we're hanging out with some of the people that did the tasting in the mixology right up in Meridian. And I'm talking with these ladies from California that were sitting at our table with us. We're talking about cruising and stuff, and they'd sailed a bunch of times. And we're talking about cruises we've been on. And I'm saying how much I love the Fantasy and the Dream, right? I love Meridian. And they're asking, have you sailed other ships? We're like the Wish. So we're talking about how we like the Fantasy so much, like us too. And they're like, we like the Wish too, but it just feels kind of disjointed in places. And we prefer the Fantasy just because the layout, the adult area is a little bit better. We think on the Fantasy, stuff like that. We're like, and then the people started perking up around the whole Meridian. But what it was, and I've come to this conclusion, people that have sailed the Dream and the Fantasy first love the Dream and the Fantasy.
I can see that.
But people that have sailed the Wish first, they don't mind it as much. Like if the Wish is your first ship, that's your jam, because I think you're cool with that layout. I think it's hard to go from the Fantasy and the Dream to the Wish because maybe you're comfortable with how that layout is. But I think people that sail the Wish for their first cruise are totally cool with it because you don't have that like prior knowledge of where things are.
I can see that.
That's what kind of we came up with after drinking and mixology.
Hey, that's the way to do it.
Maybe.
You know what you got to do though too, Mike?
I don't know.
Because you love the Fantasy so much, and you're bummed that's going to be in Southampton in 26. I say you just fly to Southampton and sail out there.
You're working on the passports. Well, yeah, here's the other thing too. The Wish has always been a shorter cruise, and so the only time I've been on the Fantasy, both times 7 nights. So that is probably also a huge factor, because 2 longest cruises I've been on, Fantasy, Disney cruises, Fantasy. So that has a huge impact too. I love that. It just feels like home, like the Dream does too, because I've sailed those ships the most, and I love them. So anyway, our wait staff was amazing. They took care of us in the rotational dining. I love the pirate night. I dressed up. I have fun. I like it. It's
you do like it.
You know what?
I'm glad you have a fun time with it, man. You really do.
I mean, it's dumb, but I have fun with it. And then we did the drawing and animators palettes. We did that. That was cool. Zoe enjoyed that. Just good time had by all. So Eastern Caribbean 7-night itinerary, cannot recommend it enough. We're going to do it again in 26. So great. 3 sea days, chef's kiss. Love it. I mean, just to be able to relax. And we got on the ship on a Saturday. We didn't get to our first port till Tuesday. Like having 2 sea days right off the bat, just so no pressure. Like you just get on the ship and you don't have anything to do till Tuesday, but enjoy the ship. Oh, it's great. So I'll call it there, but we'll have a call and show Sunday night. So if you have any questions, want to talk about it, give us a call and we'll talk there. So
please do. Yeah. I mean, I feel like there's still more you didn't share, but I know for time constraints,
Absolutely.
But I can't wait to hear more. I'm sure you're going to splash some more updates as we continue to record more episodes here soon.
We shall. There's lots of pictures on my Instagram, lots of videos there as well, lots of reels. So go to Be Our Guest Mike on Instagram and check out all the photos there.
I want to see all 13 desserts. I'm going to look for them.
There's a picture. I mean, well, the 7 are on the table right there in that one shot. And then, I had look at my dinner.
2 in the dining room and then ice cream cones. Love it.
Cones and it was
record-breaking day.
It was not good. But again, that's all I heard that day was the Hallelujah chorus. All right. And I loaded that just for the show. All right. So we're going to jump out of here. Don't forget, today's podcast brought to you by the Magic for Less Travel. We'd love to help you get sailing with Disney Cruise Line. Best part, we'll get you an onboard credit, which you can use for that Palo brunch, Palo dinner. You can use it. Oh, one thing I want to mention. I forgot. Merchandise on the Disney Fantasy. Terrible. The merch on board the ship was
what?
It was not good. It was ugly. It was just, I couldn't find a thing to buy.
Was it just plain Disney Cruise Line merch, or was it Disney Fantasy?
Okay, it's like World. Everything is gaudy. Everything has to have like some weird looking patch or something weird on the back. Like they can't have anything. They don't have like just a Sailor Mickey shirt anymore. They can't just have just simple stuff. Everything's got to have like one extra weird thing on, like a weird collar or like some weird. I had gift cards ready to go. Like I wanted to spend money. I've been saving my money for this cruise, like gift cards from the in-laws. I bought a hat. I mean, I got my hat, in a different color. And I did
I thought you had a different, like you got like a white hat this trip, right?
I got a black. They had a black one.
Oh,
I got a black one, and I got this shirt, which if you're watching, it's a blue Disney. This is the
I like that shirt.
Yeah, this is the most plain T-shirt they had. I did get this one. If you're watching the video, but they just didn't have like any of like Nike, just like plain Disney Cruise Line logo, pullovers, nothing like that. It was all weird stuff. Like, I mean,
losing money. I mean, it's easy.
100% they were losing money. I went down to the store like 10 times, hoping they restocked. So I was
like they're not going to get you to buy art with that money. No, you want the souvenirs.
I wanted just, I just want like a plain Mickey, like sailor shirt, like just classic.
I love that shirt. I know the one you're talking about.
Yeah. Totally didn't have. Anyway, sorry to leave you on that, but Disney Cruise Line, just go back to classic Disney stuff. We'll be there to spend our money. Anyway, so magicforless.com. We'll book your cruise for you. We'll get you an onboard credit. You can spend it. Maybe you'll like it. You can get tumblers and stuff and all that good stuff. There's stuff to buy. Also, use our Amazon affiliate link if you can, beourguestpodcast.com/Amazon. And please support us on Patreon, patreon.com/beourguestpodcast. If you do just $5 a month, you get our bonus show called Mike in the Midwest. So come on over again, patreon.com/beourguestpodcast. And a huge thank you to our supporters on Patreon. Give Scott a follow on the social media at @Scott. Give Rikki a follow at Rikki Nibs. I'm at Be Our Guest Mike. And of course, we need to see you over in the clubhouse. The conversation goes 24/7. We have a great time there each and every day. Join us today, beourguestpodcast.com/clubhouse. All right, we'll see you Sunday night, 7 o'clock Eastern, 6 o'clock Central for the live call-in show. Give us a holler. Let's talk Disney. But until then, for Scott and Rikki, I'm Mike saying stay safe, stay healthy, and we'll see you real soon. Whew. Thank you.
Hey.
I gotta run. I've been getting blasted by my girls. Like, when are you gonna be done? The fajitas already. They've been
wow, fajitas, yum. Yeah. Enjoy.
Right. Thank you guys. I'll see you guys later.
I'll talk to you guys later. Have a good night, everyone.
Bye, guys.